Getting this is how I feel. Some ask questions. Why am I so real? But they don't understand me, or really don't know a deal about the pressure. Trying hard to make it right. Not long ago, before out in this fight, everybody's talking all this stuff about me. Why don't they just let me live? Tell me why. I don't need permission, make my own decision. That's my prerogative. It's my prerogative. It's the way that I want to live. It's my prerogative. I can do just what I feel. It's my prerogative. Nobody can tell me what to do. It's my prerogative. Cause what I'm doing, I'm doing for you. Don't get me wrong, I'm really not so. Eagle chase is not my thing. All these strange relationships really gets me down. I see nothing wrong, spreading myself around. Everybody's talking all this stuff about me. Just let me live. Tell me why. I don't make permission. I don't need my own decision. It's my prerogative. I can do what I want to do. It's my prerogative. To live my life. It's my prerogative. I'm doing it just for you. It's my prerogative. It's tell me why can't I live my life without all of the things that people say? Yo, tell you, keep it like this. Now, do what I want to do. Me and you, together. Let's talk here. Just let me live. They just let me live. My decision, nobody's What is this, a blizzard that I can't have money in my pocket and people not talk about me? This world is a trick. I don't know what's going on these days. Got this person over here talking about me, this person. Hey, listen, let me tell you something. This is my prerogative. I can do what I want to do. I made this money, you did. Right, Ted? We out here. It's mine. It's my prerogative. It's my prerogative. It's my prerogative. What up, everybody? This song is reminiscent to what this live will be about. It's my prerogative on what I want to do, how I want to be identified, whatever it is. Some people feel like they have the right and authority over what Black Americans are to think, and that such person is Phil Scott of African Diaspora. And I just want to let you know, Phil Scott, I understand that you are opportunist. You make a lot of money off of the Black community. Before you became as big as you are, you made a lot of money off of ridiculing so-called ratchet women, weaves and ghetto types of women. You wanted to always showcase. You wanted to talk about them having babies all over the place. You wanted to talk about them lacking fathers in the house and all these types of things. And you really gave a slant to the negativity that we are feeling today with this gender war. And then you
walk off into the sunset, and now you have on a new persona claiming to be a Pan-African, which Pan-Africanism is a lie. Everybody that's involved in Pan-Africanism is about frauding mainly, or pretending to care about Black folks overall. But when you look at what they're doing and how they're moving, you can tell that it's just hogwash. It's just a means of making money. It's a means of hustling Black Americans. It's a means of colonizing us to Africa. But I wanted to talk about you in your last live pertaining to talking about Cameron, who made a big splash on social media because he simply brought out the facts that we are not African American, we are not African, we are specific to America. More or less, most of us proclaim we are Black Americans. This has been our identity prior to so-called African American when I was born. And a lot of people got really in their feelings about us choosing to preference Black American over so-called African American. And you did a live whereby you feel like, you want to straddle the fence. 1 minute you're Pan-African, another minute you're acting like you're ADOS or FBA. Again, you are fake, phony, you're a fraud. You go where you think you'll get more recognition and more money or more props for a stance, but you don't really have integrity about how you are really, because you don't live the life that you proclaim to live. You're married to a Mexican woman. You are an agent for travel. And so you feel like you should, I believe you have sponsors that are in your ear. Of course, you're selling South Africa right now for people to travel there. You're trying to get Black Americans to get passports to go travel to Africa. But like I told you in the chat room, which I'm going to get to in your response to me, I don't feel like I need to go anywhere. And even if I choose not to leave where I stay right now, it's my prerogative. Who are you to designate or dictate to me as an American what I need to be like right now? And you have called yourself an outright ambassador, and I'm here to tell you, you're not. You're not an ambassador. You influence some people because you have a lot of subscribers, but you don't have no power. You don't have no clout as far as how Black Americans are really going to move ultimately. And so from time to time, you do this bash routine. And overall, it's about us not wanting to go to Africa or get a passport. You really, really go out of your way to bash. And that's what you called yourself doing to me. And so we're going to get to that. But before I get to the clip where he talked about me specifically in his chat room, because I normally don't go to your platform because you're full of shit. And I just don't like the fact that you're fake. I don't like the fact that you're a hustling, big-lipped bitch. I don't have no respect for you. And ultimately, you are claiming to be Pan-African. You do have an agenda with others that are in your ear to tell you what to do. And overall, you're fake. But one thing I'll give credit to is the fact that you are okay with Black Americans calling themselves Black Americans, as if you could change that. But you did a live that supported Cameron's desire to call himself Black American, which by and large, most of us are claiming Black American. We have never really went to that other term of African Americans that was imposed on us without our choice. So let's get to the portion of some of the video that you did, and then we'll get to where you try to call yourself clowning me, because I want to address that personally. Now, I was going to address it yesterday. I did a little bit on Afro Goddess platform, but we were talking about migrants overall on her platform. And by the time I got to you, I was burnt out from talking about you. So anyways, I wanted to pick it back up where I left off, and we're going to talk about what you are talking on. Let's get here.
Loving and everything else to you. I'm telling you, that's been my experience and several other people's experience. Is when you get to the government aspect is the problem. Because you have to understand, a lot of these African governments are leaders that are complete Western puppets. They don't even do good for their own people. Why do you think they're running out of there? Period, right? But what Cameron said at the end is actually true culturally. I'm telling you, if you are a Black American, you was raised here, you was reared here, you have our Black American culture and identity. When you go to an African country, you're going to find out real quick you're not culturally African. I'm telling you that. I love going, I love it, but I'm not culturally African. And that's okay.
You're not African, period. Culture or otherwise. We're mixed breed of people and hybrid of different races that makes us unique from most people that are in America. So this notion of you walking this tight line or rope to appease the Pan-Africans, which I don't think you did a good job of walking the rope, because a lot of people in your comment section was very livid about you saying that we're not even culturally African and that we can call ourselves Black Americans, because again, many people really feel like they have the right to tell us what to call ourselves, in particular Africans, like I said, that are Western and Central African, who have this desire for our dollars and they want us to trust them. And they feel like if they can get us to claim African, somehow that will loosen up our dollars towards them. So that is the only reason why they want us to really claim this so-called label or name of African, because it makes it easier for them to scam us, fraud us, and all of that. Because again, 10 years ago, this conversation was never, ever an issue. People were calling themselves either African American or Black American. It was no big issue. Suddenly, the last 5 years I've noticed on YouTube, it's been about you are African. They want to drop American out the box totally and try to reclassify us as being American. And that is the agenda of Pan-Africanism. What's up, Ms. D? How you doing? And it is disturbing that this is going on right now in 2024. People won't let us live and have our own way of thinking about how we want to be. People feel like they should be able to rally us like mill us around like sheep or slaves of old. And unfortunately, the people like Phil Scott and others that proclaim to be Pan-Africanism, they are all in on it for the most part about how they can get us to do what they desire for us to do, which is primarily get us to fly, get us to try investments, get us to try to get land and all these other things they're putting out there in the atmosphere for people like Phil Scott to influence us to feel comfortable and confident and trusting these endeavors that people are trying to get us involved in. And a lot of times we're finding out that that is a dead end and it's a scam at the end of the rainbow. It's not no pot of gold. It's a scam at the end of the rainbow. And a lot of losses are coming up on our end as Americans. We're taking a lot of L's. We are being little bit by bit being bankrupt through these different ideas that people have put upon us and pressing upon us. And this is why I don't like the likes of you, Phil Scott, because again, you don't care about ultimately what happens to us. You're okay. You have a large number of subscribers. You have a lot of money that you have gotten from the Black community, and you're sitting pretty right now. So if one of us falls or becomes bankrupt or becomes homeless or has a number of things happen to us, gets unalived or become missing, that's the least of your worries, because you're making a whole lot of money off of the name of Pan-Africanism. What's up, Ben? How you doing? Ben, so when is Phil moving to motherland with his Mexican wife? I don't think that's ever going to happen. I think that he will keep on hustling us, claiming that he's going to get involved in businesses in South Africa. He's going to do this, he's going to do that. Maybe he will a little bit, but he would never permanently go live in Africa, because his wife is never going to want to go live in Africa. She has family that are Mexican here in America. And now that there are other Hispanics from Venezuela and others, she's going to feel more comfortable being here in America. So she's not going to ever want to go. But let's listen more to what he has to say.
That's okay. Now, do I have African DNA? 100%. Yes. Can I trace my people back to the motherland? Yes. But culturally, listen,
again, you cannot trace your people back to the so-called motherland. Again, that is a lie from the depths of hell. It is a hoax as far as determining so-called tribes or land masses that you're supposedly been from. These different land masses did not even exist at the time when slavery was supposedly ongoing. So, or some countries didn't even have the name of what it is that it is today. It is a hoax. But again, you are a part of this agenda. You are influencing. You are an influencer to those that can't really think critically about how you are trying to get them to do what they desire Black Americans to do. And this is why I'm doing this video, to showcase that you are ultimately an agent. You don't care about us overall because you're making a lot of money and you're sitting pretty.
Truly, my culture is not an African culture. It is a Black American culture. And so when I go to the motherland, I represent for Black America. I understand that I'm an ambassador, whether you like it or not, because I've seen some of you say, well,
you're not an ambassador, you bitch. You are, again, influencing some of the weaker-minded people that can't really see through you. But you're not our ambassador. You don't tell us nothing. Like I said, you can't make me move nothing. You can't make me do a goddamn thing. I see you as you are, a fucking fraud, a bitch made nigga with money off of the backs of Black Americans. And also now that you're rocking the African diaspora, now you have Africans believing that you care about them too. You're just making money all over the place. But you're not a real person legitimately caring about Black folks as you proclaim. If you did, the platform that you have, you should be able to do much more in the community than what you do. What do you do with the monies that you get every month with 1 million+ subscribers? Think about that. All that money you get every month, you do not give a hill of beans to the community. You don't do a goddamn thing. You hoard that money, but you're Pan-African. You hoard that money, but you tell us we should be Pan-African. You hoard that money, but you tell us what you think we ought to do. And then when we don't want to do what you claim you want us to do, then you want to bash and talk shit about we are ignorant. We weren't raised right. We don't have enough education. And all this type of hogwash bullshit that you always spill and spin towards Black Americans continually. And it's annoying as fuck.
why you said that in that interview? You don't represent us. I don't care what you say. At that moment, I'm an ambassador for Black America, so I'm going to speak like it at that time. And I want to make sure to represent our group right. Because we have a lot of...
How are you representing our group right when you don't even have your thumb on the pulse of how we really are? You are, again, calling yourself being more superior than the bulk of us as Black Americans. You think that you are the one that's supposed to, because you have the numbers, because you have subscribers, because you make money, you think that that's supposed to justify you being able to open your mouth and talk shit to us. But that doesn't mean that you're an ambassador. You're just a fraudulent influencer is what you are.
Social capital that's very high in the African continent. So it's okay to say, hey, I'm not culturally African. We're not. The first time I see...
It's okay to say you're not African. And that's what Africans are going to have to get an understanding for. I'm not going to be tiptoeing around because they feel some kind of way that I'm rejecting calling myself an African. If they want to go cry a river, maybe I'll give them a handkerchief. But other than that, I don't care. I'm not going to be tiptoeing around like you are, trying to be very, very careful on how you say stuff, not to offend anyone. But you can't spare everybody, because the truth is the truth is the truth. But you're trying to do your best here not to offend anyone.
That really was in Ethiopia. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. People so nice. The people say welcome home and all of that. But I don't have...
Yeah, they said welcome home because you had that tourism money. You were probably giving, donations to people, or tips to people. You got all this extra money that you can just spread around because you hoard the money and you don't do a damn thing for anyone else but you and your Mexican wife and family. So of course they're going to be smiling at your bitch ass, because you got all this extra money that you're saying, hey, here, take this extra money, have a blessed day, here's some extra money. When have you done that to the Black community, though, there in Texas? When have you blessed the homeless people overall? When have you influenced Black Americans to do better for themselves here in America, or build something here in America? You got all that money, so-called, all that influence, but you don't do nothing but sit up on the platform and wag your finger and talk shit about what you think Black Americans should think and do and be like. That's what you do. You're an influencer, a bad influence in my opinion, because again, you do not walk the walk that you're preaching. And it's so easy to say that you're this and that and you have integrity with a Mexican wife, though. I'm not buying it.
I have Ethiopian culture. I have Black American culture. Kenya, went there. Great people. Treated me so well. Met great people, got friends in Kenya that I talk to this day. But culturally, I'm not a Kenyan. I'm a Black American. South Africa, I relate to them a lot more than any other African country I've been to, be honest with you. I relate more to South Africans because we kind of mirror in what we went through in a lot of ways. And even then, even though we mirror each other and we can have a lot of similar conversation, but I'm not culturally a South African. I'm culturally a Black American. And that's okay. It doesn't mean you don't have African DNA. Come on, that's science. But we're culturally Black Americans. And like I said, the term Black is our ethnicity and is our race. So they intertwine with each other. No other group does that but us. So if a person says, and we hear them say, well, I'm not Black, I'm Jamaican. Well, technically, see, this is where the confusion starts. Because are they saying, I'm Jamaican culture, I'm not Black American culture? Or are you saying, I'm Jamaican, I'm not Black as in race? See, that's where the confusion starts, for what I see. There's a lot of confusion on that term. And like, for instance, Jamaicans, when they say they're Jamaican, there's no confusion on that, right? Jamaican doesn't tie a racial category to it. Because and we get to the definition of some of this stuff, but if you get a citizenship in Jamaica, technically you can say I'm a Jamaican too, but I'm not of the ethnic group, but I'm technically a Jamaican. But let's get into some things that I want to talk about here.
And all these different citizenships and passports that people are trying to influence us to do, mainly Dynasty Mir, I don't care how many passports or citizenships you get, you're not going to be those people. But again, you're selling the dream that if you go get a passport or a citizenship, that means that you're now that part of that culture. That is hogwash. That is emotionalism. People that feel some kind of way lacking as far as their self-esteem or self-worth, I guess, would feel like that is something that they might want to do. But for someone that knows who they are or not trying to change or impress anybody, we don't fucking care.
Ethnicity. Let's talk. Let me set this up. Hold on. Let me get my little trusty board up here. Hold on. Well, the person said that it's nothing for them to learn. Well, that's the point of ignorance. And one thing that I've learned as I'm studying
again, that he loves to throw around this word of ignorance. There is nothing to learn. We can watch stuff on YouTube. We can have a conversation with an African about their culture or whatever, but we don't need to necessarily experience it because most of us don't feel like it's necessary. Because why? We're just not interested like that. And there's nothing wrong with that. But again, when you have an agenda, when you are being paid behind the scenes by different sponsors that are trying to get you to get more Black Americans from off their couches and out of their houses to go take a plane flight here and there to Africa, then you have this agenda. You have this you have an agenda to try to do as much, do whatever you need to do to try to get us to do what you want. And again, bashing us, calling us ignorant is the go-to for all these so-called Pan-Africans. The first thing they like to say is you're ignorant or you're uneducated or you're uninformed or you were brainwashed or you were isolated, all these different things. The same way in which you went to go do what you wanted to do, your prerogative, to expand your horizon, doesn't mean that we haven't done it in our own way. Maybe we just were interested in other cultures, or we were interested in other things in America, or other hobbies or whatever like that. It doesn't make us any less than because we're not interested in what you are telling us to be interested in. But again, these Pan-Africanism talk as if they are superior, talk as if they have authority over us, and them throwing around this term of ignorance. It gets on my fucking last nerve, actually.
Learning. I don't really have time for ignorance. And if you want to be ignorant, I believe you have a right to be ignorant. But there are some people that actually like to listen to things, they like to learn, they like to grow. So, hey, you know it all, God bless you. So let's start off on, hold on, let me fix this. What happened here? Did I mess something up? My trusty, give me a second. Well, while I need to go fix this real quick, let's look at something on the screen here. I want to show y'all a particular guy, and you tell me who you think this is on the screen for a second. Who is that? Who is that on the screen? Y'all should know who he is by now. Just give me a second while y'all trying to figure out who that is on the screen. And no, that's not a Black American on the screen if you don't know who that is.
By the way, this is Burna Boy, a Nigerian rapper who always has something to say, seem like every 3 to 6 months, about Black Americans, just like Akon, just like many other Africans that would love us to feel shamed about who we are as an American. And they would like us to feel less than. They would like us to feel like we need to connect to Africa again for us spending money towards Africa. They just don't accept and respect us as being whole. As we say, a lot of us feel content with just being American. We don't feel the desire to have to go research anything beyond America. And that's okay. But again, it's many of these Africans' duty in their mind to shame us. It's their duty in their mind to say, you guys are not even full-fledged Africans because you're mixed up, you have white ancestry or whatever. You're not really African. And so therefore you need to try to mimic us or try to see about us and try to revere us or put us on a pedestal for you to feel some kind of connection to. And when we don't do it, and most of us are not doing it, praise God, they feel some kind of way, and then they come out with this rhetoric that we don't have culture, with this rhetoric that we're not, truly Americans. We're ignored in America, all these different things that we go through. They like to highlight what we're going through so that they can be able to try to mentally fuck us with what their rhetoric is on. And Burner Boy is one of the main ones, and Akon is another one.
That's Burner Boy, famous musician Burner Boy. I want you to keep him in mind as we go finish talking about this tonight. Yeah, but that's Burner Boy. He said something I want to touch on, but let me get back to my homework here real quick. So let's start off with ethnicity. Now, ethnicity is the social group a person belongs to and either identifies with or is identified with by others. Ethnicities are usually identified with a specific geographic region and say where the group originated. Like Black America, we originated here, our group, Black Americans. Now, ethnicity is defined by a mix of cultural and other factors, including language, diet. Give example. What is a diet that some of us eat? Let's say like something like, we create different foods, soul foods, whatever. We have many foods that we've created. Religion, ancestry, physical features, traditionally associated, they say, with race. Other characteristics of ethnicities include culture, heritage, history, customs, family life, ritual, and they say also food. So with our ethnicity, let's go back to the main thing that's been told to us several times, which we view as disrespectful, saying Black Americans don't have a culture. Well, a culture has to do with many things, and we're going to expound on that. We have a heritage. Obviously, our heritage. We have a history in this country. We have a lot of customs. A lot about customs and family life and rituals and food. And now they say ethnicities may be divided into subgroups or tribes, which over time may become separate ethnic groups themselves. Now, a person's nationality is where they are a legal citizen, usually in the country where they are born. So since I was born here in the United States, I'm an American. But if I became a dual citizen of somewhere else, let's say South Africa, then I could say I'm an American and I'm a South African by nationality, but ethnically, I'm Black. I'm a Black American. That's ethnically, for me at least. Now, race is a classification of humans into groups based on physical or social qualities. And I say the term has been in use since the 16th century. Most people did not label themselves by race at all. That is something that the white supremacists brought in, which created a mass confusion. Most people label themselves by tribe, they label themselves by lands, they label themselves by religion, etc. Now, culture. Let's get into culture. Now, culture is the customs, arts, social institutions, and achievements of a particular nation, people, or other social group. So, we have our customs in Black America. אתה מתחיל את היום, אבל אתה אף פעם לא יודע איך הוא יסתיים.
Really?
So, we have our customs in Black America. You know, many of them. Name some of our customs that we have, ladies and gentlemen. What's a custom that we have in Black America? A common custom that we practice in Black America. Natural folk poetry is not a semantics argument. It's called definition, and people need to be educated. The problem is people don't want to be educated and know the differences with culture, ethnicity, nationality, and race. It's you got to know that to even know how to combat people disrespecting you, actually. So you say it's like customs. You say that now. You said the arts. Now you mentioned, hold on, what person? Low quality mentioned in the arts, R&B, hip hop, rock, blues, etc. That's considered the arts, right? Social institutions would be something like an HBCU, right? Black history museums, different social institutions, achievements like Lewis Latimer creating the filament of the light bulb. That's an achievement of our culture, right? First open heart surgery. That's an achievement of our culture, Black American culture. You can talk about all the inventions that you can talk about George Washington Carver. You can talk about freedom fighters like Malcolm X, Martin Luther King. So many different people that's in our culture, right? Culture. Black Americans not only have a culture, we are the culture. Now, let's go back to Burna Boy again, right? Now, Burna Boy here, he's a Nigerian. Look at how he's dressed. He's Nigerian. That look he has right now is Black American culture. But this guy opened his mouth and said that we didn't know who we were. Obviously, we know who we are because you dressing like us, the chains you're wearing and whatever, right? Now, let's get Burna Boy off of the screen and show what his culture actually look like. Let me get him off of here. This is Burna Boy's culture right here, Nigerian culture. He was born in Nigeria, so that's his culture. Why isn't he rocking those clothes, his cultural clothes? When you come over here to America and tell us we don't have a culture and say, okay, fine, why aren't you dressed like your culture? You say you have a culture, your culture been around for thousands of years, fine, but you do not dress like that. Remember, Burna Boy is not dressing like his people. He's dressing like a doggone Black American rapper. This Burna Boy right here say we don't have a culture, okay? But then this is what his culture is, and he don't want to wear it. Why isn't he rocking that on stage? It makes no sense to me. Or you may have women that come from different places. Oh, Black American women don't have a culture. You laying your hair like Black American women. You're not wearing the dresses that come from your culture. You saying the same slang. You're wearing the lashes. You're doing the nails. You're wearing the Jordans. You're doing everything that Black American women are doing. But then you turn around and say, while you cosplaying a Black American, we don't have a culture. Like, that's the craziest thing ever, like, to me. The craziest thing ever. That you say we don't have a culture, but yet you cosplaying us at the same time.
Before I let this go forward, let me see what you guys are saying. Thank you all for appearing. What's up, Charlie Shaw? ADOS, invented country, rock, hip hop, gospel, and more. What's up? And Safe Brother, what's up? How you doing? Again, Ms. D and Charlie Shaw, thank you all for coming through. Let me see what you guys are saying. You said, let's face it, Phil saw that he can make money off of the diaspora mess. And he's making a killing. He's definitely found a niche for making a lot of money. And again, it is his goal to keep making money, keep it pouring in. And so we are his go-to as far as donations, as far as subscriptions. And then for some that are weak-minded, would allow him to influence them to do what he says to do, subliminally and directly, about getting passports, going to Africa. This is the thing that they desire for us to do as a normal thing. But it costs money to fly. And it's a risk to fly. And then there's a risk when you land in Africa because of the scamming and the hustling and the, them trying to pat you down for all the money they can get you for because they hear that you're an American. And so I don't find any of that intriguing or impressive to really want to get involved with. And so I'm not influenced one iota by Phil Scott. But again, he is walking a tightrope right now by trying to act like he's in support of so-called Black Americans. He's doing this to, make us feel like he's on our side, but he's not.
Yeah, Burna Boy even got a grill. That don't come from Nigeria, bro. That don't, you know what I'm saying? So when somebody tell you that we don't have a culture, don't argue with them at that point, especially when they cosplaying a Black America. Don't do that. Just say, okay, I'm not going to.
And it's ridiculous how they do cosplay us, talking up like we do, saying the hood terminologies and wearing their pants down, and taking on a lot of the negative hood type of characteristics. The things that we're trying to get corrected, they emphasize that as much. Ms. D says, I only know Burna Boy because he talks shit against us. He cosplays us. ADOS says, and you're fabulous. Okay, thank you if you're talking to me. If not, whoever you're talking to, thank them. Say Brother says, I'm all right. Charlie, just been working, dropped my phone and cracked it, so got to get another one. I just had to get another one too a week ago because my phone wasn't charging anymore with the part that you put in. It just stopped charging just one day. You said, I'm surprised you can see my message. I got a message saying that I was suspended for a week. What? You got a message saying you were suspended for what? Do you have a platform or something? I didn't know if you did. Charlie Shaw says, sorry to hear that. Dang, what have you been doing on these YouTube streets? I guess I don't have filters sometimes. I lost my Apple Watch on the 2nd and I was dead. ADOS says. Charlie Shaw says, they tried to suspend me too, but they didn't. I think this African guy who called me a chattel, reported me because I ripped him a new one and they kept deleting my comments. Yes, sometimes I can't seem to write in on the comment section because my comments keeps getting deleted. I don't know why. It's weird. YouTube is censoring us more. ADOS says, and they can dish it, but they can't take it. I guess we have that in common. What's up, Kiki? Thank you for coming through as well. We had a nice time yesterday. That was a good live, by the way. A very good live. For those that don't know, check out Kiki Loves Nigeria. We are looking for Anja, Africa, and we're trying to support her on her whereabouts because she's been missing for like a month, and hopefully we can find her by next month if we don't hear anything from her. Yes, Phil is a plant, Lisa D. You're right about that. And again, he feels like he should be able to just tell us what to do. And if we don't do what he says to do, then he always wants to criticize and say that we're ignorant, that we're uneducated. All these things to badger us and bash us. Nobody else has to have that issue, though, but us.
Detain you at this moment. I'm just not going to do it. Because why? Now you cosplaying me. You know what I'm saying? So, we continue to say customs, laws, dress, as we talked about earlier, architectural style, societal standards, which we have instituted a lot of societal standards. Let's talk about one thing we have instituted in society. We're fighters. That's part. Do you know our fight and our spirit of the fight is part of our Black American culture? So much so that everybody mimics our culture to fight against anything. And when we, the cultural fighters that come from Black America, stay silent about any kind of injustice, why Black Americans not saying anything? Why? Why they quiet? Then they try to start gaslighting us to say, hey, well, we were out there with George Floyd. Like, okay. I mean, we didn't ask you to. We had that on our own. We didn't need you out there, bro. We didn't ask you. Why you ain't saying nothing about Israel and Hamas? I mean, we don't live over there, so, I mean, what you want me to say? I mean, I don't know what to say. I don't. So, I mean, I'm trying to focus on us right now, right? Now, let's get to delineation, that conversation of delineation. Black Americans are the last to the delineation party. Everyone delineates, everybody. But, you know, I've been sitting back watching the conversation for a while. I've been seeing like the rage, because people have been raging out about Black American delineation. They've been, really raging out about it. Like, how dare y'all say.
And the main ones that are raging out are Pan-Africans and Africans that are Western Africans or Central Africans, or the ones that really feel like they should be able to influence us if they could get us to feel like our identity is more attached to them than to America. They're the ones that are most enraged. And again, no other people get this but us. Jamaicans are just Jamaicans, Haitians are just Haitians, and every other Caribbean or African have their own sense of tribe and traditions and whatever. No one harasses them and say, hey, why are you calling yourself a Nigerian? Didn't a white woman make up that term in this year, whatever like that? I mean, people pointed out for the ones that, you know, learn about the fact that supposedly a white British woman supposedly named Nigeria, therefore naming Nigerians. But I don't care what they call themselves because it's not my business. But I do have an issue with people trying to tell me what I'm going to call myself. And it's like I said, I've had big issues with this Sudanese woman by the name of Kat, who literally argued with me all the time for months about me calling myself a simple American. She really felt some kind of way that I was trying to not claim African, and that in her mind, we needed to exalt Africa. And it's like, no, I'm not putting Africa up there on a pedestal. I'm not worshiping Africa. I'm not doing none of that bullshit. I'm a Black American, take it or leave it. And so, again, some of these Africans feel some kind of way because they feel like we should worship them and Africa. And it's really bizarre, but that is what is going on.
Y'all gonna focus on Black Americans. Like, how dare y'all say that? And I'm like, but everybody does that. Everybody. Let's call it what it is. Even in the African continent, they call each other, going into each other's countries, foreigners. You're not my people, you're foreigners.
That's what confuses me, because you go to South Africa, you have like Nigerians and other ethnic groups go to South Africa, and you have Islamophobic attacks, you have mob killings and whatnot. They call those other Africans that go there foreigners and invaders and all these types of stuff. And they have violent episodes. And so when you hear these same Africans online, I'd be like, are we talking to the same types of people? Because they be online acting as if none of these types of things happen ongoing in Africa, like the Fulani and the Nigerians overall, the Hausa, or whatever they're called, Yorubas or whatever, Igbos or whatever, are not fighting, in other countries, are not having their ethnic clashes. Like there are not no genocides that have happened. Like the Tigrayans in Ethiopia weren't trying to be exterminated by the military and whatnot. And all these other cases and stories that you can find out abundantly that's happening on the continent. But then you will talk to these Africans on social media and they just pretend like that is not the truth. It's like, What world do you guys live in? I don't know why they like to play as if it's nothing but a chicken wing and it's not as severe as it is in Africa to our faces, to try to tell us it's okay to pretend like we're them, but it's no benefit lying to us.
Now, in our mindset, well, no black person should be calling each other a foreigner in a black nation. If we all black, then we ain't no doggone foreigner. We come from different lands, but we're not a foreigner. But in these different homelands, they say, you not me. I'm from Barbados. You're not Jamaican. You know, y'all Jamaicans, we from Barbados. You Trini. You know, we all y'all delineate. But when it comes to black Americans, what I'm noticing is that black Americans are like basically being bullied in the flat blackness to a point. But everybody else don't have to.
They are bullying us. And you could tell and feel by the reactions of us whenever, like I said, Cameron just recently caused such an uproar, just simply saying he'd rather call himself a black American versus African American. If you go put it in, Cameron says, you'll get so many other videos that are for or against him calling himself black American. Some people are very upset. Of course, people are trying to say it's being divisive. Again, people don't think that we should have any wiggle room to have a choice in our identity. And that is what I've been noticing for 5 years, y'all.
Practice flat blackness. And I'm trying to, and y'all help me with this. Why? Listen, if we're going to be doing flat blackness, let's do it. Okay, I'm with it. I'm with flat blackness. But it can't be.
I'm not with flat blackness because it's erasure. It's erasing or attempting to erase us as an ethnicity, period. And that is the goal of what Pan-Africanism is all about. That's why Pan-Africans are so upset about us wanting to delineate. Let me see what you guys are saying. Yes, I hope she's found too. Yeah, I did enjoy myself too. I had a long day. I was on 3 lives, Kiki. You were the 3rd live. I did my own live. And then I went to Afro Goddesses. And we did a live, and then I followed up with your live. So I was spent last night. I was truly spent. You said I wouldn't be shocked if Phil was a cosplayer. I don't know, because you never can tell, because again, I hope he's a black American, but like you said, you never know, because people have different agendas and they could just say whatever they want to say, and who's going to really know unless you can research what they're saying. Charlie Shaw says, Kiki, is it always like this when people go missing or in the continent? Lisa D says, hello. What's up? Collagenesis, if I have time, I wanted to play a little bit of his ridiculous live last night, talking about ADOS and FBA and just talking about it's the dark side of being black American and all this type of crap talk. Again, this bullying and this bashing that they're doing against us, saying that we're somebody else other than what they want us to say. Yes, he's an abomination, for real. And he gets on my nerves. Kiki says, yes, except they don't get the social media coverage like Anja, but okay. Kiki says, I'm going to look to see if that is a problem in West Africa. What's the problem in West Africa? Them having different clashes with their identity or views that they're tribalistic and they're not one and the same. We see clearly in Nigeria, there is a separation of different tribes, and they're real serious about being tribalistic as far as I can tell. If that's what you're talking about. You said they are responsible for their homeland, not Americans. ADOS says, invented. Charlie Shaw says, Caribbeans too. I just saw a Caribbean woman ask what group would they belong to if they were born here and don't have any island culture and haven't been to the islands. They still would be culturally Caribbean, I guess. Caribbean American. I mean, they would be Caribbean American. I mean, you can't erase where your parents and your grandparents came from. And I guess they're trying to do that. Some of these other people that come to America or have been here for a little bit feel like they can claim our identity as their own. But again, when they do that, it's murking up the waters for us to have our own identity, and it's making it to where we're being erased. That's why it's kind of dangerous, and that's why we need to delineate, in my opinion. You said, Lisa D says, my cousin literally stopped talking to me because I reject being called African American and don't pander to pan-Africanism. Wow. Wow, that's crazy. It's getting deep though, isn't it? Charlie Shaw says, Lisa, that's crazy. This has been going on lately while Black Americans like your cousin can't see the cultural and identity erasure. And they don't seem to get it. I don't understand why they don't see the writing on the wall. Charlie Shaw says, Phil is right about us being bullied. Yeah, that part for sure, including him bullying us, though. He forgets to mention himself bullying us as well. ADOS Invented says, flat blackness is ethnocide. Yeah, it's erasure. That's why I would never agree with it. You said, no, we were talking about women missing in Africa. Kiki says, yes, a lot of them, more and more and more. And then there's I was listening to Sisters International. She did a video talking about people were coming up homeless in the Gambia. And I'm wondering, was she indicating Anja? That happened in like 2022. If you didn't hear that video, Kiki, or not.
Black Americans practicing flat blackness, and then everybody else still can delineate and separate. You can't have it both ways, brother and sister. You can't. And remember, this is a family conversation. This is not a conversation of hate. This is a conversation of love. We have love conversations over here, right? Our distant cousins got to understand that when family got to be together. You can't separate. That'd be like me having separation from my children or things like that, right? No, my family has to be together. We have to practice either unity or listen, Black Americans was never delineating. Never did that. I will say this truth. Y'all that came into this country from these different lands, y'all brought that delineation. Y'all brought that division here. We never had no delineation talk in Black America. We never talked that way. We never thought that way because we were all Black. We were all together. We suffered together. We had triumph together. Y'all came into this country bringing that mess in here. And then now that Black Americans are doing exactly what some or y'all are doing that came to this country, now y'all crying foul. It's like my grandfather used to say, nobody likes the taste of their own medicine. And you know how I feel. I believe Black people should work together globally. And I do work together with Black people globally. I have Black people working with me from several countries. And I'm good with all of them. But in America, this is a different conversation, listen, that's why I tell y'all, don't.
The thing about bamboo that stands out immediately when you go online and you're like, who is bamboo?
Don't judge the people that came here as a representation of the continent. I'm always going to tell you that because you're going to see something totally different. And then they'll tell you over there, hey, them that went over there, they wasn't right here either. They'll tell you that. When I hear a person say, well, Africans don't like us, I know you didn't go to the continent. I already know. The moment you say it, I know you didn't go. I know you didn't go.
Again, we can say that because there's tribalistic tendencies in Africa and they don't like one another. So we can say that. And again, if you have money, they're going to be smiling. They like you because you got money that you're tipping them with. Of course, they're going to like you. So this notion that they like us, I mean, there might be some that's interested in learning about Black Americans. They never met one before, things of that nature. But the ones that he met during tourism, of course, they're going to be smiling and happy to see him. He got money. He's tipping. He's giving extra money for tourism. He's going where the tourists go. Of course, they're going to be happy to see you because you're providing resources for them. So why would they be mad to see you? So this, of course, they're going to be smiling at you. You're providing extra money that they would not otherwise have.
Now, Cameron saying Yankees. I was never called a Yankee in the continent. Not one time. Not once. The moment I spoke, they say, "You Black American? Oh, man, I'm glad you're here." And they just want to start talking to me about everything. They want to hear everything. They want to hear the stories. They are the ones asking Black Americans, why don't we come back to the continent? Why don't we, build something over there? The people are doing that, not the governments, but the people. Now, I know some people say, well, what about all the people that got scammed in Ghana? Do you know how people be getting scammed? Like, this is the thing. Just because you go to a different country and these supposed to be Black folks, right? Why do you drop your sense of street smarts? I mean, come on. Most of us come from the hood. Y'all go do things over there that you wouldn't do here in America. Some of y'all are getting scammed by people and you don't even research the laws. Why would I go to a different country and don't read the law if I can even own land in that country as a foreigner? Y'all just going over there spending your money with people and not even reading the laws. Or some of y'all are buying land and y'all didn't even go see the land. That's like going buy a house in America. You just heard about it and saw it online and you just bought the house. You don't know anything with the house. You don't know what's going on with it. You don't know nothing. We just bought the house and you saw it online. Now, in America, you have certain protections that you don't have in other countries. It's true. But we got to use some common sense. If something that sounds too good to be true, a lot of times it is. It is. Sometimes, listen, in those situations, you got to go to those countries with your eye on that after you do your research.
Sometimes it doesn't matter if you do research. Sometimes people are going to just tell you what you need to hear for them to get to your money or for you to trust them. And then they just switch up on you. Sometimes there's just no preparation for what is going to happen. And this is the conversations that we need to have and how easy it is to get us caught up with people just trying to introduce to us opportunities for investment, opportunities to get land, opportunities to build, all these different opportunities that they're pushing towards us. But it's very interesting how these so-called opportunities don't find other Africans that have left Africa. They're not trying to sway any other African to be a part of those opportunities. And most Africans will never, ever touch those so-called opportunities because they know better. But they designate these so-called opportunities for us because we don't know better. And there's no way that we can, in particular, know about all the different things that they tell us because they already know when they tell us these opportunities that they intend to hustle us and take as much as they can get while the getting is good. And you can't prepare for that. But again, Phil and all these other Pan-Africans will let you believe that you can research and prepare, you can avoid this and you can avoid that, when most likely than not, you can't. And that's just the truth. People are getting burnt all over the place, irregardless of how comfortable they felt talking or so-called researching or even getting a lawyer. They still getting caught up and bound up in court. They still have land situations that are in litigation right now. They still are calling themselves building and not knowing if that land is going to even be theirs after the litigation of court is over. And so there is just a risk and a gamble that we're taking. And people continually push us taking this risk, which is resulting in a lot of people coming up, asked out with L's. And sometimes they end up homeless because they've given up all their money. They got hustled out of a scam, and then they're asked out on the street. And this is the situation that you can't avoid all the time. How can you prepare for that? What's up, E-Deck? How you doing? Let me go back up. Yeah, where is the unity in Africa? It's nowhere. So this so-called notion that we're delineating, we've never been together. We've always been separated. This YouTube is giving the illusion of us really having heartfelt conversations, but it's just YouTube. It's like talking on the phone. It's not real because you're not living next to these people. You're not interacting with these people. You're not exchanging money with these people overall, unless you're going to their country and trusting them with what their so-called investments and opportunities are calling for you to do. Yes, and I'm wondering if the homeless lady was Anja. That I really wish that Anja would come on and just tell us how her living situation really is. I remember seeing that she had like this cloth colored thing behind her on a wall. I mean, is she living with somebody? Is she living alone? I mean, what is her status really? She never really talked about that. I just got the impression that she was living alone because she seems to be a loner to me, but I don't know. Charlie Shaw says, you saw a homeless lady that looked like her? Kiki says, no, one of the repats made a video about a homeless African lady, and I was wondering if it was Anja. Like Gambian expats. Okay, so there are a lot of homeless Gambian expats, or repats rather. Charlie Shaw says, okay, I hope it's her because that would mean she's alive still. E-Dex says, no, Phil, don't speak for me. I totally agree. When Chinese, Jamaican, Lorna Chen explained Jamaican history and saying that country is not all black, Phil disagreed. Apparently it's moved on from it being all black. That's why the Asian lady was so emboldened to speak the way she was, and no one checked her. It was not even an outrage over that. The Jamaicans didn't do all kinds of videos talking about it. They just, again, kept talking about Black Americans. So it's just really weird that they had no words for her. Edex says, Phil is a pan-Africanist who is married to a Mexican woman. It's not her fault that Phil is being a hypocrite for YouTube dollars. Exactly. Charlie Shaw or Kiki says, no, the video was old. It was a long time ago. What's up, EDEC, again to you. Ms. D says, facts, they are strangers to most of us. It's like they're making it seem like, we're fighting, uniting. We have nothing really to unite on in reality on the ground, because again, one has to trust somebody that a lot of times are not trustworthy. And people expect us to just give away trust and respect that has not been earned. Therefore, there's no relations. There's no relationship in reality. Of course, it looks that way on YouTube because you can talk to people, but it's not real. Edex or Seven Galley, what's up? How you doing? You said, I just came on YouTube to browse real quick before work. Peace, Kiki, peace, chat. I'm hitting the like. Thank you for that. I really appreciate it. You said Angela would not stay off social media if she was fine, period. I don't think so either. Now I'm going to fast forward this because I'm tired of talking about him. I want to get to the part where he called himself talking shit about me. Again, this notion of this passport, this notion that we need to be bullied to get passports and to feel like we need to travel to Africa because he says so. No, bitch, I don't have to do anything you say.
Transfer. It don't. And y'all know. John G say the lack of intelligence in the chat is sad. Well, John G is not their fault. It's not their fault because America don't educate us. They indoctrinate us in this country. America taught us to be isolationist. And what I mean by that is America's taught us like we're the only people in the world that exist. So since they haven't taught us about other people and other cultures, they don't even encourage us to get passports. They don't. Only 32% of Americans have passports. A passport is only $130. People waste it at a restaurant. They don't even encourage us to world travel. They don't.
Again, a lot of us don't feel the need to do all of this, take all the risks, spend all that money, because after you get the passport, you have to spend money to fly and buy food and buy hotels and do this and do that. None of us like to do all of that, especially when you have so many other places in America that you can still travel to and it's more affordable. Here in America, I would prefer to go to places that I have not been to America yet. I have not been to Texas yet. I have not been to Florida yet, for instance, and so forth and so on. But I don't particularly like flying. So it's not imperative that I just go continuing to keep up with the Joneses of people that are calling themselves passport bros or people that are very, tourist types that go here, they go there, they always travel. I don't like that scrambling about. It's a big inconvenience to me. It's not something that I just ever desired to do. But again, because I have this personality, I'm ignorant, I'm uninformed, I'm not educated. No, I'm not those things because you said so, Phil. You have an agenda for us to get passports, obviously. It's written all over your fucking fat ass face. And I'm just not going. I don't care what you say and how you say. But again, these words, these daggers that he's saying is solely for Black Americans again, trying to get us to do what he's been called to try to influence us to go do. And it's just disrespectful that he can't just be like, some people just don't desire to go. Some of us just are sticklers for being the same way that they've been. And there's nothing wrong with people being sticklers for being the way that they have been. Some people just don't feel the need to change. And that's okay. It's their prerogative. It's my prerogative. But again, as he keeps speaking, you can clearly see he has an agenda.
We still arguing about ethnicity, race, and nationality. Something we should have learned in elementary school, maybe middle school. And yet people are still confused by that, but it's not their fault because the American education system do not teach you to critically think. They don't teach you about
Again, this notion that we're not critically thinking because he feels like we need to be doing what he's saying, like we're dumb and that we're slow and that we're ghetto and that we're hood if we don't do and upgrade our mindset to be globalist or global, so-called global citizens, because that's a new term that I just recently started hearing. Be a global citizen. No, I don't care to be a global citizen. That's the one world order. That's the direction that they're trying to push us into, this one world order mentality. And this is why they're trying to push Black Americans in particular to go travel around, because again, we are not part of this global citizen by what we're not doing. And that's his agenda, to get us to go do what others have been doing. But why should we if we're not interested? And that doesn't mean ignorance or uneducated. It just means that we're content where we are and we're not wanting to change. And we don't desire, traveling. It's an inconvenience for me to be on airplanes, keeping up with your stuff, keeping up with your passports and IDs, going through the airports and being patted down and all these different things, worrying about your luggage and all these things, worrying about catching a flight, running around to make sure this and that and the other. I don't like living like that. That's just not something that I find fascinating. And then when you go to different countries, all you're doing is spending money. You're just throwing money away. And unless you have a lot of money, It's not necessary to me to spend money that I really don't have to spend. I'd rather save money to look at for a rainy day. That's my opinion of how to survive better, by not spending money, just on anything and all things that everybody is calling us to do. If I was a millionaire, yeah, maybe I would have a different outlook. But the way that I've been living and surviving barely, I'm not risking giving up the little bit of money I have towards trying to keep up with someone like him who probably has hundreds of $1,000s in their bank account. How is that going to benefit me, trying to measure up to someone like him? That's stupid thinking. But again, he's trying to use reverse psychology on us and tell us we need to raise our awareness and catch up to him and be a global citizen and, get into the race of life type of thing. When again, it's about the haves and the have-nots, and the people that are traveling the most are the ones that really have the money to burn. Some people sometimes don't even have that money to burn, and they're still burning that money, and then they're finding themselves in trouble behind having that attitude, becoming homeless or struggling. And it's not, to me, something that I would like to see more of us, partake in. In my opinion, if you don't have to, don't do it.
Politics. They don't even really want to teach you about American politics and how the American system works. They want to give you a bare minimum education. They want to be a worker ant and work all your life until you're dead. They don't teach you the art of business. They don't really promote any of that. I mean, think about that. I mean, I can't get mad at people, because I used to get upset with people when it comes to that. But I had to think how they were educated. And then in some of our communities, we aren't given the resources for education.
So is he going to be handing out money for people to fly and travel, since he wants to see people get out and learn the world at large? Is he offering to hand out this money? No, he's not. He's expecting you just to spend your money whether you can afford it or not. But he got money to burn, but he never will burn that money because he's hoarding that money for him and his Mexican wife living in Texas, talking shit about what we're not doing. And that's why I don't have respect for this bitch right here.
So sometimes we don't have the best of teachers in our schools. So, I mean, unless like me, I got more of my education outside of school. I didn't learn what I know today in their schools. I didn't learn crap. Yeah, Zaria Lyons said America taught us to be self-centered and think about ourselves as individuals instead of a unit. Well, this person right here, for Black righteous folks' home, America is our home. Who said it's not your home? Who said it's not?
He could have kept reading, because I said that we are at home. I don't desire to go to Africa. It is not imperative that I do. Something to that effect. Imperative that I do. Him trying to browbeat us about saying we're not educated, we are not informed, America has us isolated and all these types of things, trying to bash us into doing what he wants. I didn't like that kind of talk. That's why I put the comment in the comment section. And here he is calling me ignorant. Let's listen to this shit.
Don't you got a birth certificate say you were born in America? See that level of ignorance right there. That level of ignorance. So it's wrong for somebody to tell you to spend $130, get a United States passport.
It's wrong if I'm not interested. If you tell me that that's the best thing to do and I say thank you for inviting me, but I'm not interested, you should just respect that I'm not interested. Some people you'll get, some people you won't. Like in sales, some people you can sell a dream to and others you cannot. You can't get us all. But again, he just don't like the fact that I might influence others to feel like we don't have to do what he's desiring for us to do, which is, again, travel, but it costs a lot of money to travel. You need thousands of dollars. Also, in case of emergency, you got to have other money on you. I really feel sorry for people that travel with minimal money and then some type of layover or something where they miss their next flight or whatever, and then the plane is canceled or something happens and you got to get another plane ticket and you ain't got that money. You got to have backup money when you travel. You got to think outside of the box in case of this and that and the other. Or you got to have like a Visa or a MasterCard or something just in case of this and that and the other. It's not as easy as he's making it sound like, especially in cases of emergency. And I just don't like the risk. I don't like the hassle. Therefore, I don't like traveling and I don't like flying. But again, he's assuming that I'm just, sitting in the hood with a gallon of beer, smoking a blunt, ghetto bird with kids running around and my baby daddy abandoned me and stuff like that, without understanding that certain people just feel how they feel. And it's okay. But again, he has the agenda. So now he has to try to make an example out of me and mock me and make up shit just so that he could try to sell and spin this notion that we're ignorant if we don't believe in what he's saying.
That clearly says you're American, clearly says it, right? And that you can travel, take your family somewhere, do whatever to expand your options if you would like to travel or do something else. That's what I'm talking about right there. And that's why I'm talking about right there. And that's why sometimes I don't like about social media is because people take things and run with it in a way that even the person that's speaking certain things not even saying or intending. No, well, TD Visions beats. Some people don't want to leave the block, and that's okay, but this is my problem. Those people that don't want to leave the block will attack people that say, yeah, I like to go, check out, take a vacation with my lady to Barbados. What you want to go over there for?
I don't attack. I just inform. It's up to y'all. Ain't nobody can stop anyone from doing what they want to do. But most people don't think about the cons of what they do. They never assume something could happen bad. They always assume that everything will always be easy. And it's never that way for the most part. Always things come up that you cannot control. And most of us can't handle that stuff that comes up out of their control. But he would like you to believe that everything is simple. It's easy to do. It doesn't really cost that much because he has a lot of money he's sitting on. So from his vantage point, it's no big deal for him to spend $3,000-$4,000 here or there or everywhere because he got it. Someone like him has probably $1 million in his bank account. So he ain't worried about any emergency or anything that may happen. But someone like me that's barely making it, I'm not going to put my neck on the line in addition to flying and have an emergency because it's not worth the risk. And some of us just don't have the luxury to think like he does. And again, you should not try to fault me because of I ain't got $1 million I'm sitting on. And even if I did, I don't think I would still maneuver my way the way that you are, because I just don't like scrambling about trying to get here and there and rush and do this and that for flights and all that. No, it's not fun to me to travel. I don't see anything about it that's interesting. You're spending a whole lot of money in one swoop. Even when I go back east, I'm spending money, giving money away and all these types of things. Spending time with the family has been a while, but you're spending more money than what you normally would because you are traveling. And that's a lot of ways a lot of people can't afford to be like that. So that's what I'm against. And I think a lot of other Black people miscalculate different things that could arise. And then when they get in a jam, then they're on social media begging for donations. There's been passport bros that mismanaged their money and they got stranded, abroad and whatever, and they had to beg their subscribers to help them get a plane ticket out. These types of things can happen. And just think about all the cases we don't hear about where people miscalculate and then they're in a bind and they don't have family, they don't have friends to help them out, and then they're stranded in that country and they're homeless and they're having problems. He don't think like I do because he's never had to have a situation where, you're thinking about survival like I have. So he doesn't understand where I come from. He doesn't understand my mindset of survival always and thinking in terms of what could happen if this doesn't go well, because I don't have the luxury of family and sitting on piles of money to help me out of a situation. Again, bashing me all for the sake of trying to be an agent to try to influence us to keep flying. That's his agenda. And this is why he is so upset right here.
This is our home here. You ain't got to go there. You can go to a beach in Miami. You ain't got to go. Like, why are you trying to restrict a Black man and woman's movements? You want to go somewhere, let them travel.
And why are you trying to tell me that I need to go and fly? It's my prerogative. The same thing can be said. What makes you the authority of what I'm going to do with my money? You're not the ambassador. You don't regulate shit, but you run your mouth apparently, and you have an agenda with your big ass nose and big ass head like a goddamn Rottweiler. Fuck you.
If they can move where they want, they can stay where they want. They want to go to Miami, fine. If they want to go to Barbados, fine. If they want to go to Panama, fine. I mean, why Black folks got to be restricted to one geographical location? To me, that's dumb. I can sit my whole life.
I never said be stationary at the same area because, again, there's 50 states in America that I have yet to touch down on. If I really wanted to do this travel thing, I've traveled to Las Vegas before. I've traveled to San Francisco before, and other places before, LA and whatnot, Long Beach and whatnot, mostly around my family that I wanted to go see, though. It's mainly wanting to see my family. I don't want to be a tourist. To me, that's a money grab. To me, that's just not the lifestyle that I feel that I would like to lead or have a habit to have unless I had a whole lot of money that I was sitting on. And if I'm not sitting on a whole lot of money, I don't want to lead that lifestyle. To me, that's dumb to be burning money that you might need a couple of months down the line. To me, that's dumb. That's survival money that you're burning. To me, that's how I look at it.
In a neighborhood with the same people, looking at the same stores, the same liquor stores, Pookie and Ray Ray. I'm sorry, I can't.
Again, I don't live around a Pookie and a Ray Ray. I don't have no kids. I'm not a baby mama. I don't have baby daddies and all this type of talk that he's alluding to. And this is the type of stuff that he made money on previous to this diaspora hustle. He would talk about ratchet women and their weaves and them being baby mamas and not having daddies in the home, and really came after Black Americans and made money off of shirts and mugs and all this type of talk. And this is the same rhetoric that he used to talk about a while ago. And I think he still has shirts and stuff that he sells with ratchetness because he was making money off of that first. And again, he's trying to assume that I am one of those types of people that are at home with 3 kids and baby daddy's missing in the home, and I'm just waiting for someone to bring by some beer and a blunt. Come on. Again, that's a stereotype. That's ignorance right there, to assume that I'm that way because he has a bad view of Black American women. That's why he's not married to one. And he always likes to take slight attacks, dagger attacks against Black American women every chance he gets. And this is what, again, I don't respect about him. He is not really for Black Americans like he's claiming. He's about how he can make money off of you, though. And this is why I have no respect for him, because, again, this was uncalled for. He doesn't know me like this.
That's not life to me. The same thing every day, and then you on your deathbed, you didn't see nothing but your neighborhood. What kind of life is that? I'm sorry, that's just me. And I'm not going to encourage my children to not want to see the world. Well, my children have seen the world, but I will never want to be one to encourage my child to don't see nothing. You need to even go learn. Most of you that talk like that, you haven't even traveled in the United States. Let's go there. Most of you have not traveled.
Yes, I have gone there. I've left the East Coast and I'm in the West Coast now. Again, I've been in California for a while and I've seen enough of California. I don't like flying, though. I've only flown about 3 times in my whole life, and it's only because 2 people that was very important to me passed away, and then one before he passed away, I had to go see a great uncle before he did pass. Other than that, I don't see a desire to burn money, though. That's the thing that he is not fully aware of. A lot of us don't have the luxury, especially now, with everything going on with migrants, with everything going on with programs and everything being dried up, opportunities drying up, job opportunities now, people needing us to learn Spanish now, or you're not going to be able to get a job is getting harder for us as Black Americans. We're being squeezed out. We need to save money for a rainy day. We don't need to just, live on the edge like he's trying to tell us to do. And again, he has money. He's sitting on a lot of money from all the hustles that he's been doing for all these years. So he cannot relate. But he's calling himself, wagging his finger about supposedly, I'm in the hood drinking a beer, a 40, with baby daddies and babies all over the place. And I ain't got none of those things. The fuck is he talking about?
And seeing the country you live in. We're talking about right here in the United States. You haven't traveled to even the cities where Black people are at to see how we are even different within different cities in the United States. And see, Keisha gets it. Keisha says she loves to travel and get away from them folks. She planning her trip right now. And shout out to Keisha. Keisha got it. Keisha got it 100%. And Keisha's a Black American, and Keisha has every right to travel. Let me tell you something. Our Black American ancestors fought, died for us to thrive. And if Keisha wants to travel, Keisha can go to any country in the world that Keisha want to go to. And Keisha having fun. Let me tell you something. I've met Black Americans. I've actually met some great Black Americans travel.
Again, this
never ran into.
Again, it is called gaslighting. It is called bashing. This is what Pan-Africans love to do. This is what he called himself doing to me. I normally don't go in his platform or in his chat room because I don't like him overall, but I was interested in knowing what he was going to say about Cameron and what the whole issue about us wanting to be called Black Americans, what his strategy would be to say one way or the other. I was interested in what he would say, and he straddled the fence. As usual, he wants to not make anyone upset because he want to maximize potential for money. And again, if you don't want to do what he wants you to do, he's being sponsored by these different travel agencies that's trying to encourage him to, in fact, a lot of his videos begin with, let me find the latest video. He has videos that begin with him advertising this travel to Africa or South Africa. He's promoting South Africa. And so you can go to most of his, let me see if it's going to do it this time. Yeah, the first thing that he's talking about on his platform is traveling to South Africa. So he has an agenda, folks, and he doesn't care if you really can afford it or not. It's just up to him to keep trying to push us into traveling.
Hi everyone, this is Latasha Blanton from the Real South Africa Travel and Tourism. And you're going to have the opportunity to travel with Phil Scott to
sunny South Africa. You guys are going to have the opportunity to come to Johannesburg, and you guys are going to be coming to Durban. And we're going to set it up perfectly. It's going to be like a luxury experience for you guys. At the same time, you're going to be getting some culture. And of course, you're going to get an opportunity to talk to Phil, hang out with Phil, and get his views on Africa and South Africa.
You're also going to get an opportunity to explore the lifestyles here that are available in South Africa. And we're going to do all that for you in an amazing 10 days. We do hope that you go to the website and book, because we do look forward to seeing you here.
Absolutely. Our website.
Again, he is representing a travel agency. He has an agenda. He is trying to get us to spend our money towards what he is promoting. He is making buku money off of us doing what he desires for us to do. He does not care if you have the money or not, but he wants this notion that we need to go travel because it maximizes his potential for people to do what he's making money off of. And I have no respect for that because, again, we're in dire straits in America. We should be told to be more responsible with our money. We should... he shouldn't make me or try to attempt to make me feel some kind of way about not wanting to travel because it's my prerogative. Just like it's his prerogative to travel, it's my prerogative to not travel. Who is he to be the authority over what I do and what I don't want to do? So again, I don't like him at all. I've never liked Phil Scott. I've always thought he was a fraud. And I don't like the fact that he uses our community for his upliftment, and he's never ever given back to the community, even a little bit, not even a little bit, and he doesn't care to. What's up, Jeannie Quick? How you doing? You said, I hate people who tell other people to do things that they are not willing to do themselves. Well, he's willing to do it because he's making a lot of money, but he wouldn't do it if he wasn't making that money. That's the thing. He wouldn't be doing all of that if it wasn't a benefit to him making extra money on the side. And this is why he's expanded his horizons to include traveling to South Africa and all this other type of talk, because he's being enriched. And that's why it's his agenda to try to get us to feel like we need to fly. And that's just disrespectful. Jenny also says, and it's interesting that people who claim pan-Africanism are not living that lifestyle themselves a lot of the time. No, they don't. And he's married to a Mexican woman. How is he living a Pan-African lifestyle? He's not. He's visiting his mother and father-in-law that are Mexican, eating Mexican food and burritos all the damn time. So miss me with the bullshit. Edex says, Jenny Quick, especially the YouTubers that tell Black people to get violent with white people but won't do it themselves. Yeah, they tell us to hate white people. They say to dwell on white supremacy. They tell us to hate America, but they're not leaving America. They're telling us to do this and that and the other, but they won't lift a finger because they're not going to go to jail for nothing. They're living their best life right now, but they're telling us to do reckless things just because they just say ridiculous stuff to us to do. Go riot, go do this, go get the white man, fight the power, do all this stuff. And they're not willing to do any of it though. They're not willing to do any of it. Jenny says, hey, Kiki, just hanging out today, trying to stay warm. Kiki says it is cold in Ohio. I know it is. My God, I'm so glad I'm not there. Jenny says, and why do some people feel the need to tell others what to do? Again, I cannot stand that. Just live your life and leave others alone. That is how I live. I don't feel the need to tell other people how to live their lives. Pan-Africans don't seem to get the memo. They feel like they should be able to influence us or tell us what to do. And if we don't, we got to hear them badger us and talk shit to us every waking moment of the day. And it's very, very annoying. And I'm over it. Jeannie also says, I live near Chicago and it is actually 6 here. That is ridiculous. You mean 6 degrees? It is? Ooh, that's wild right there. Jeannie says, traveling isn't for everybody. I'm just saying, I don't like traveling. Like I said, I don't like wasting money that I really don't have to to afford. Correction, it is 4 degrees. Wow, that's a lot. You said he has elitist thinking. Exactly, he's rich, so he has nothing to lose. But he wants to talk down to people that can't live up and measure up to all the money that he's gotten off of our backs, though. Americans are royalty. Yes, I hope we are. I hope that we will remember that. And Kiki says, Jenny, that's even worse. Stay warm. I know 4 degrees is wild. You said I cooked a bunch of food yesterday so I would not have to cook for a few days. And me and the kids are just lying around, relaxing and watching TV. That's nice. Stay warm as best you can. Hey, what's up, Lynn? How you doing? Thank you for coming through. Jeannie says, and it's expensive to go to Africa. I checked airfares recently and it's crazy. And if you're traveling with more than one person, it's even worse. I believe the ticket is close to $2,000. Isn't it $1,500 to $2,000? I keep hearing people saying around that amount. And that's just one person. That's not even including the hotel. So do you have that kind of money to burn? Who has $2,000 or $3,000 laying around that you can afford to burn once a year? A lot of us really can't get it like that. And that's just the reality of what it is to live in America, because the cost of living is so high. Food is going up. Everything has gone up. And so people are really trying to save as much as they can and hold on to their money as long as they can. Lynn says, Phil trying to make money off of Black Americans. It's typical. Everybody's making money off of us. Jeannie says, wish I could invite everyone over. Not in that cold weather, you can't. Miss D says, really, Africa is not together. Plus, they don't think about nobody but themselves mostly. That's what it is. And I'm not interested in that attitude. I'm not spending money for that. Kiki says, wow, he really said that level of ignorance. Exactly. That's why I'm doing this video, but I'm over it. Like I said, he is making money off of us by badgering us with this Pan-African talk. And he has his reparations now. He's uplifting the Mexican side of his wife's family. They're living probably a lot better than Black folks are living in America. But has he offered to do anything for homeless people in Texas? Has he put other people on in America to help their conditions with all that extra money he makes every month? I'm sure he makes so much money every month consistently with his platform. He can't set aside money to bless Black Americans and talk shit to us, though. Tell us what we should do, but he can't bless none of us. That's why you know Pan-Africanism is a fraud and he's full of shit. You said the people of Africa are very tribal. Yes, they are. And Gina says, I'm not against people traveling to Africa. What I am against is being told lies about how things really are over there to get people to go. Exactly. That's the part that I don't like the most. And that's why my platform, I do a whole lot of exposing. I showcase the pitfalls of what happens with different people, because a lot of people don't research to know. They just assume hearing happy stories about mango trees and it's so nice over here and the sun is nice out and the beach feels good on your feet and all this type of talk, the motherland, kissing the earth and all that type of talk. That doesn't inspire me. I'm not influenced by that. I'm not that easily swayed. And again, for those that dream and have fantasies, they will listen to him and maybe take him up on what he's selling. Jenny says, some Americans are not well informed, but that is not a universal thing. Again, we're all built different by our own life experiences. And some of us have the mentality of just trying to be a survivor like me. I think in terms of being survivalist and trying to make sure that I'm not in some type of way in trouble that I can't get out of. And I think in terms of the bad things happening first so that I can avoid them. That's how I think. Lynn says these panties have a hard time respecting Black Americans' decision. Most of us are not panties. Exactly. Jeannie says, what I don't get is if people are not interested in traveling to Africa, why should that be a problem? It's not a problem for me, but then again, I guess I'm not trying to make money. Yeah, if you're trying to make money, though, off of Black Americans, which we seem to be the go-to people to make money for a number of different things, that's why we're being targeted all the time. Charlie Shaw says, I just want them to leave us alone. Leave us the F alone. Exactly. Exactly. Edek says, yep. And Jeannie says, traveling is difficult for many people. If you are disabled, if you have kids, etc., it's not an easiest thing to do. I only travel when I absolutely have to anymore. Exactly. If I have to honor somebody because, they're older and they died, or someone's sickly, that I don't want to, die before I get a chance to see them, something that is very sentimental to me, I would fly or I would travel, just because that's just not how I'm built. No, I'm not going to just travel just because. I don't need to just travel just because. It has to be a real reason behind me traveling, or I'm not going to travel, because it is a nuisance to me and it is an inconvenience to me. And again, you're spending an awful lot of money in a short amount of time. And I just can't see $2,000-$3,000 leaving me in a matter of a week. And then when I go home, I'm like, damn, I just had $3,000-$4,000 that I did have, and now it's gone, and now I'm coming back broke. I just can't do that. Let me see. Edek says, yep, a lot of YouTubers always preach to their audience about traveling. To me, it doesn't make sense, and it never has. If facts. ADOS and Bennett says he sounds like a tether saying the exact same rhetoric. He does. I don't know if he is. You never know. You never know. Edek says, I notice a lot of so-called pimps, strippers, porn stars, drug dealers, scammers, IG model like to do a lot of traveling, emulating the famous celebrities they know. Exactly. Trying to pretend to be a celebrity type. Trying to keep up with the Joneses is what it is. Jenny says, like I said, traveling is not always easy. As I've gotten older, I would rather just stay at home. I can find plenty to do here. Exactly. I like to just be comfortable. Lynn says, right, I know people who have lots of money, but they don't like to travel. They just don't like it. Everybody don't like traveling, and that's okay. Exactly. You said he is suspect, Adios, and Bennett says he wants you to give away your lineage. He's very abusive. Yeah. Adios, Bennett says he acts just like West Africans to me. Yeah, come to think of it, he sounds like one. Jeannie says, I am visually impaired, so I don't know how he looks like, but I do not like his tone of voice. He's unattractive, with a big head, with big lips, and thinking he's sexy because he got a beard with some gray in it. So he got money. He does have money, though. I'll give him that off of us. Safe Brother says, you pause videos at the right moment. I swear I'm laughing at this still. Okay, still shot. ADOS and Bennett says, how has he contributed to Black America? He hasn't. And if we bring that up to him, he'll have all these different excuses. But we need to give him the same treatment. Where are these programs and where is this money towards homeless Blacks, towards these hood people that you speak on, towards these ratchet women that you used to talk about all the time? Where is that contribution or donation towards the community? You got all this money, all these subscribers, all these people that you influence. You can't be a blessing to Black Americans, Phil, but you want to wag your finger to me about me not traveling? What about you being a blessing to Black Americans and get off of some of that money that you're burning towards traveling and be a blessing to Black Americans struggling? Think about that, bitch. Gina says, and so what if all you have seen is your neighborhood? Is that really wrong? I don't understand what he's trying to say, that if you don't travel, you're a bad person. I'm not living in the hood, for one. And for another, I have traveled, like I said, as I needed to, as a necessity. but not because I want to blow money, just because. Yes, gaslighting and shaming tactics, Lisa. Facts. Jenny says, and what's wrong with having kids? I think it would be better if you stayed home and raised kids than if you ran around traveling and burning money unnecessarily. That's what I think. Be responsible and raise your kids, rear them up. High Roller says, I wonder if Phil takes his Mexican wife on his trips to Africa. I think she went one time, as far as I could tell. Probably South Africa, she's gone. Gina Quick says, I am with 4Black on this. Better to hold onto your money and not waste it. Yeah, because a lot of people, Christmas just passed by. A lot of people got themselves in debt because of Christmas. And then the next month after the new year, their car broke down, or their house got burnt up, or they lost their job or something. And then that money you can't retrieve again because it's gone. And a lot of people don't think like that because we're so used to just spending money. We've been trained to just spend, not save for a rainy day. And I think most of us should think about, how can we get around being like that, spending all this unnecessary money. Ados and Venice says, is not traveling if you are fleeing from your homeland. Being internationally displaced is not my idea of a good time. Exactly. Just because other people are unfortunately, have to, migrate or try to escape from various situations. That's not our scenario, knock on wood, right now. And I hope that never happens. But, we need to count our blessings because, again, a lot of other people can't say the same thing. Lisa D says, we don't need to gain any culture. We already have a rich culture. Exactly. And you can just look at them on YouTube or do documentaries or watch a movie or whatever. I don't need to experience it in front of my face. I just never needed to do that. Gina Quick says, I was just about to ask the same thing. I bet he doesn't take his wife along on these trips to Africa. That would kind of mess up his narrative, wouldn't it? I think she's gone at least one time, but I'm sure it's just to visit. And I'm sure she's never, ever wanting to go live in Africa to get away from her Mexican family. So this notion of selling us pan-Africanism and needing to buy land and all this type of stuff is not what I want to do. ADOS and Venice says, financial American Blacks have the best of the best culture. Well, it used to be. I hope that we can retrieve it back. What's up, Mr. Uganda? How you doing? And Lisa D says, buy land in the U.S. Don't waste it traveling. Don't let them get you to run away from the country you built. Facts. Mr. Uganda says, hey, Kiki, 4Black in chat. Hope all is well. And ADOS and Bennett says 2024 must be the year of seeing the games the scammers play in 4K. Yeah. Charlie Shaw says, hey, Mr. Uganda. And Jeannie says, correction is actually 4 below 0, so it's worse. 4 below, I can't imagine how that feels. So speaking of Pan-Africanism, I caught a little bit of Bamani, Tenabi, whatever it's called. And they had a show that is criticizing, of course, Black Americans. They want to go after ADOS. They want to go after FBA. He called himself having a live talking against, it's entitled ADOS, FBA, The Ugly Side of Black America. And they just cannot keep, us out of their mind as far as them thinking that they should be able to dictate to us how to think, how to feel, how to be. So I want to play a little bit of what he had to say, because I found it very interesting how they're constantly talking mess to us about what we're not doing. Hold on, let me find this. He loves talking, though. This long-winded warrior loves talking shit.
This ADOS FBA movement shows the real ugly side of Black America that people that I think is out of control in many segments. Not so much as it's on everybody's mind, but if you're searching for Black content, right now, you're African looking for become a black people in America, and you hear this FBA stuff, you would think we're sworn enemies. And sworn enemy, it only exists online. In real life, black people in America, you may have people say stupid stuff but we always write that off as an ignorant black people in America, ignorant Africans, and everything.
Again, they love using the word ignorant. They love to say we're uneducated. They love to say you're a hate group. ADOS and FBA, like I said, it had a good concept. It was a good idea. It was a good way to try to reestablish, to me, self-respect and love for self. I think that us not ever claiming our own identity has been detrimental to the mindset of us. And a lot of us are lost because of that. And so for people to take power and take back the power and name yourself, it's empowering to us. But unfortunately, it's getting a bad rap behind being called Islamophobic because of the rhetoric of one man, which is Tariq Nasheed. But overall, it's a good idea. Overall, a lot of people feel more prideful about themselves here in America. Overall, it's making us, have our chest poked out a little bit better and our head held high. A lot of people don't like seeing that. They want us to feel bad about ourselves here as Americans. They don't want us to self-identify because they want to make us over themselves. And that's why he is pissed off about ADOS and FBA. But again, attacking FBA and ADOS is the same thing as attacking Black Americans, in my opinion.
You got people who have organized, basically like Tariq Nasheed, that basically show this ugly side of Black America, right? Talking about, we have never, look, I'm looking back at my life, right? I look at some of my friends that were from Haiti, Barbados, Panama, and Jamaica, and also like that, and even my family members, that from the islands, and all this tether stuff and everything. We never had this in Black America. We never had this in Black America. And basically, it's an ugly side of Black America that's coming out that says that you cannot, like I said, you cannot serve two masters. Black people, we were always Black first. We've got Black history, Black culture, Black leaders. Sir Walter Rodney, Kwame Ture, all these other people came from the islands, and we accepted them as leaders. Marcus Garvey and all these other people like this. We've never had a problem with people from the Caribbean and everything. We're one people, But the ugly side of Black America is, those people from the islands. I remember when I was a little kid. Oh, man, he's from Haiti. Oh, he's from this. I'm an American. I'm American. Don't tell me nothing. I'm an American and whatnot. That's the ugly side of Black America, the weaponizing the fact that you were living in America.
And these same Caribbeans have pride about their traditions, about their dances, about their food, about their culture. No one says anything wrong when they specifically have their own gatherings and their own parties and their own flags that they're rocking. No one says a word. The minute we try to do it, that's the problem, because we're trying to take control of our own destiny and our own identity, and pan-Africanism or pan-Africanists are really having a rough time accepting what is happening. And so he is calling himself trying to shame throughout this whole live, talking down against ADOS and FBA. Again, I don't identify as FBA or ADOS. I identify as Black Americans, but some of the talking points of ADOS and FBA I agree with, because it does affect Black Americans. We are being squeezed out of America. We are being targeted, irregardless of what he would like you to believe or not. We need to stand up and figure out what we're going to do with all these different targetings that are happening against us and how to, fight it off. And the reason why we're having a hard time is because we can't get on one accord with our identity to have one goal, and we're being stretched thin. We're being tug of war with. People are pulling us all over the place. Pan-Africans are saying, look to Africa, and this and that and the other. And again, they don't want us to have our own newfound pride. They don't want us to have a pride within ourselves. And this is why he's crying right here.
against other black people. That's really the ugly side of Black America, and try to delineate from your brothers and sisters or whatnot. Even going so far as to call yourself a Black American, right? I'm not an African American. I'm Black. I'm something different. That's a very ugly side of black culture and the Black race. You know,
but when they do it, it's not ugly. Jamaicans have their own dances, and they can have their weddings and whatnot. They have their own, like I say, set aside gatherings. No one says nothing. Just when we do it, what's so ugly about us finally trying to find the strength to have pride within ourselves? They don't want us having pride. They want us to feel downtrodden and hopeless. They want us to be treated as if we're slaves of old. And this is why I don't respect Pan-Africans like him, because again, he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about.
Or to distance themselves from their African roots and their African heritage and their African identity. Okay, that's the ugly side of Black America. That's real, and it does exist, and we're going to talk about it tonight. So with that, Ramani, take it away, brother. You know how we do.
Let me fast forward because he's about to talk about his traveling. His schedule for getting us to travel yet again. That's all that they have in mind for us to do, to tour, and try to get us to give up our money.
Business. Yeah. So it's unbelievable that people have the level of selfishness, but in order for you to build commerce and investments across countries, you have to bring your A game. You can't just come there and just show up with nothing, show up with just no plan, no program. And that's what we are built. So what should be, they nitpick and say, well, he's making a profit, he's making money, he's
pocket watching.
I got 3 businesses. All the business that we have, that's the purpose of the business. That way you can reinvest back in yourself and your people. You know what I'm saying? So we have to learn to just stop being so petty and childish and be grown men in this game. When I travel across the African continent, what I see is all other races and nations of people enterprising to the highest level. They're doing business back and forth from Africa to where they're from. Back and forth. Every single people that you see, that's what they're doing. So when we're questioning each other about doing that, it's like childish and the simple-minded. That means you have no vision. But at the same time, too, you talk about FBA and ADOS, but what are you really building as far as the future of Black America? You know, even I'm just waiting for someone like Namizi to show up, because you guys talk all about this great Black America, but it's like, where's the emphasis of building anything? Where's the emphasis of creating opportunities for your own brothers and sisters? What we see is all different kind of organizations.
Again, are we superheroes or what? Do we have like abilities to fly like Superman with our cape on? They think they give us so much responsibility about the world at large. And again, we're having a hard time maintaining in America. And so to put this strain on us, this responsibility that they're throwing onto us, saying that we need to do like other people are doing. We need to go back and forth and fly. We need to start off businesses and all these things. When people are using us as licks, they're taking advantage of us overall. They don't want to talk about that kind of stuff, though, because they're in la-la land. They want to still dream the dream of pan-Africanism. They want to stay delusional. They have not built anything in America to showcase that they even know how to build. But yet we're supposed to give money for investment to build towards Africa. We don't know anything about their capabilities of anything. All we know is that they know how to tour. But that's all Pan-Africans do is tour. And they call that building. That's not building. That's making money for yourselves. And they want to criticize about us not wanting to travel to Africa because that's how they make money off of us. So then they turn around and bash us about not wanting to do the things that they're trying to make money off of us on. We're not interested, though, overall. We're just not.
That this continuously just divide people. And these are 2 organizations, that's what it does. And instead of just tapping into the market of just other people with great talents and great skills, or even just tapping into the market, like we're going to Liberia, a foundation that, these people that call themselves ADOS and FBA won't even tap into.
Yes, sir.
Have any of them ever talk about?
And if Pan-African was real, y'all, couldn't they tap the shoulders of other Africans that are interested, that are Pan-Africans? Couldn't they tap the shoulder of other groups of people that could be interested, that are so-called Pan-Africans? They can't find others to be interested because those are so-called delineated people that stay among themselves and they do business among themselves. But because we're not interested in the dream that they're selling, they're bitter. They're really bitter, like bitter women. And they're sad and mad about us not believing in their dream of lies of building in Africa. Again, they have not showcased their ability to build anything, but yet people are supposed to throw thousands of dollars towards them building in Africa. Make that make sense. But this is what Pan-Africans are selling us.
Their connection of Black America building Liberia.
That's another thing I want to build on, right? The ADOS FBA movement has another other side of ADOS FBA movement is, right, they define Black America by the borders of the United States. In other words, the white man has his manifest destiny. What is it? Sea to coast to coast, sea to shining sea. When he planned the first 13 colonies, right, his goal was to push across this continent, right, to get to the Pacific, to have the United States of America. That was their dream, their manifest destiny, right? You know, America, their whole identity is defined by those 50 states, and then Alaska and Hawaii eventually later, right? And the United States territory, right? So why does a Black man, right, define himself by the borders of America? I sent you a video today about the African American community that went to Russia and that was well received. They did really well, they did really well. There's an African American community that went to France. We don't want to know about. There's an African American community that went to South Africa, Panama, Costa Rica, Mexico. Established communities in Mexico, Canada. Okay. So in other words, basically, when we talk about Black America, they were always domesticated in the borders of America, and that's what the ADOS FBA is. They domesticated Negroes in America. They don't see, okay, if you say you're this Black American, and you say you are, right? There was Black Americans that went to Russia. There's Black Americans that moved to Germany. There's Black Americans that went to thing. You would know about those people. You would embrace those people. If people don't know this, like the first community that's still there in Dominican Republic was African Americans, right? I used to have my friend Raul. I don't understand why he had a name like Robinson. I forgot what his last name was, But he was like, yeah, we're Black. And then years later, I learned that, yeah, he's a descendant of those Black people that came from Georgia to the Dominican Republic. They still got a community there in Maryland. They still got a community there in Dominican Republic. People don't know that history. And so, therefore, they say, yeah, they eat the Southern food and everything. And so we don't know anything outside of the 50 states of America. That's the shore-to-shore mentality, as Langston Hughes used to say. Black people only basically define themselves by the white man's manifest destiny. The white man says we're only here for the 50 states. That's what you think. You're sitting there trying to protect the white man's border.
The white man has nothing to do with the decision of us being content and comfortable where we are from. We are not migrants that are fleeing from terrible situations, that are trying to make a whole new another life from the conditions of wherever they fled from. And they just want us to feel like those conditions are happening here in America, although people are flocking here. And they just don't want to respect the fact that we don't feel like we need to do anything because we have already built America. We have everything that we need pretty much already here. Why change? It's not imperative that we change for the most part because we have everything that we need. And they want us to just start anew. Pan-Africanism want us to start with nothing and build based on a dream of delusion of Pan-Africanism. Again, where are we supposed to go? Who are we supposed to be trusting? What are the outcomes that could lay or be there if we were to leave in bulk numbers? It would get turned up if we would go to Africa and live better than the locals. We already seeing signs and cases of that happening in Ghana right now. And even in Gambia, people are upset about the land situation. about people buying up land in Gambia and stuff like that. They don't like Americans doing what they're doing now. And it's very minimum number that's happening right now. But imagine if it was millions of us and what that would mean to the locals. It would not be a good thing. But yet he's pressing upon this notion that, you know, we need to leave America and try to start anew in Africa, when he does not research about how the locals are feeling and how they would respond and react based on if we were successful. But again, he's just yapping. What skills does he have to build anything? He's not showcasing anything in America for us to even know they can build anything. But we're supposed to blindly trust just off of the merit of the word pan-Africanism. And this is why they're failing. Because if they would at least buy land here and showcase what they can do here, maybe you can influence people to believe that you do have the capability to do something in Africa in small amount of whatever number. But they're not showcasing shit. They're just talking shit about us giving up money towards them. They want us to hand over thousands of dollars to their hand and trust them. And nobody with a half a brain would ever do such a thing. Come on.
Well, he don't care about you. Well, that's why a white man doesn't give a damn. You're mad because a white man don't give a damn if you get replaced or whatever like that. You know, it's his game to play. You know, so, you know, now they're breaking apart. They all said two different things. No, they're the same damn thing. You know, they're the same damn thing. You know, they're the same damn thing. You know, same mentality. You know, same everything. You know, whether organized or not, it's a mentality. You know, play a video, brother.
Yes, brother.
And so now they want to play Tariq Nasheed's cartoon, y'all, to try to say, you know, they're putting everything that Tariq Nasheed does onto all Black Americans and why we don't care to deal with Africa or go back and forth or try to build over there and trust them. Again, it's just ridiculous to scapegoat based off of one man. But they're actually trying to showcase a damn cartoon, y'all. Let me fast forward this because this is kind of silly. Let me go to when they were talking.
23. Under the leadership of Louis Farrakhan.
Hold on, I don't want to.
Social media driven.
Here we
like
go.
The money in Africa right now.
Hold on.
Amazing. So what I'm getting for this is these Europeans organize the event. Remember something, right? Somebody I don't really listen to it. Professor Backtroopers, he got on his game where he talked about how the West is now using Bobby Wine to undermine Museveni and thing. And a lot of times the West have their own agenda in Africa, right? Which is the LGBTQ and all this kind of stuff like that, you know? And so they want to bring that to Ghana. And so what we do is, instead of us organizing our own Pan-African events and whatnot, we don't know how this thing. See, a white girl, she's a Instagram model with that guy, a black boyfriend, whatever, organized this, right? And invited Dr. Arikana and all these other people on a high level. And Juice Malema won't take a moment not to hear himself talk. And so, you know, and Ghana's like, okay, I see this as a provocation with political parties who basically are pro-Western and all stuff like this, but it's going under the cover of Pan-Africanism, you know? So, like people like now hate Otto, but this is a serious situation because we don't really have the media, the journalists, you know, that's what tells me. Like we talk about, we have all this new black media and whatnot, but we don't really have the real journalism to get down to the nuts and bolts. How did this start from A to Z? So we're all informed and we can make our decision.
What he's talking about was there was a so-called convention, a Pan-African convention that was to be done in Ghana the 7th of January, and somehow because a guy that's a millionaire was hosting it, that has aspirations for trying to run for office somehow in Ghana. The president of Ghana, Addo, decided to cancel this so-called Pan-African convention with 4 different speakers that's supposed to be the prime, what do you call it? Prime people that are speaking all the time about Pan-Africanism. They were gathering. One of those people was, of course, Dr. Ericana, who is a past ambassador who was fired for fraud, though. But many people don't know what she was fired over, and they revere her as being this well-spoken, passionate Pan-Africanist. Anyways, people around the world came to Accra, Ghana, to see these people speak, and they got a rude awakening when they landed. Hour or two before it was to start, they had military and policemen bar the people from coming onto the square or wherever it was to perform these speeches. And so people spent a lot of money via flying, via hotel stay, and whatnot. As usual, they got let down by the so-called Pan-African Convention and this President Addo. Again, I don't care. It was funny to me because anything Pan-African, you must, in my mind, you have to expect to be let down because that's all they continually do. So that's what that's about. But I wanted to showcase Easy Acts going back and forth with Kala, and that's about to happen right here. And he's a pretty sensible guy. He's also a moderator on my platform. So I was shocked to see that he came on the platform to speak to Kala because Kala was looking for anybody Black American to attack about ADOS and FBA. And this is where we are right now.
I mean, I guess it can't be that much more information, but let's see what we have. Let's see who we have here. Greetings, family. Welcome to Pan-Africanism towards nationhood. You can unmute yourself. Ease Acts. All right, greetings, brother. Welcome to Pan-Africanism towards nationhood. What is on your mind?
Good evening, Mr. Bomani. Thank you for letting me on. Thank you. Can you hear me?
Greetings, and try to speak up louder or turn your mic up louder. And if you can pronounce your name or just give us an intro.
No, I am not. I am not a Caucasoid man. Okay. Can you hear me?
I ask you to speak up a little bit. Say what's on your mind. Time is running here, bro. What's on your mind?
No, I don't like the. I am not FBA, ADOS, but I don't like your attempt to shame them just because of who they want to be, okay?
How am I shaming them?
Why is this the black part of, what was that? What was the title of this live stream?
You sound like a Caucasian, you know?
Why are you claiming ADOS, FBA on the dark side of Black American? They're not the dark side of anything.
Yeah, this the title is ADOS/FBA, the ugly side of Black America. So
the
that's
ugly
what
side of Black. Oh, really? Is that true? Come on, are you trying to prove that fact?
So you're saying you're not ADOS FBA?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who I am.
Yeah, it does matter because I don't like to shame our business.
No, you're trying to shame people who are part of this movement or group, ADOS, FBA, You cannot speak for them like that. Speak against them like that.
But I can't because it's my community, you know?
No, you're a Pan-African. That's your community.
Well, no.
Dude, who are you? Who are you? And who are you to question us about our philosophies?
Who are you guys to question the ugly side of Black America?
This is the community. These are the people that we live around, and we talk about America and Africa. That's what we talk about.
Explain why ADOS FBA is the ugly side of Black America.
Because they're basically doing the same thing white people have done to black people. Talk about
no. White people have nothing to do with it. Tell me why they're the ugly side of Black America.
Hey, listen here. You don't come here and dictate and tell us what to have done. We're explaining something to you, so you can listen to it and be clear.
ADOS FBA is xenophobic, is hate towards Africans, and denial of African lineage. That's what all it is.
Okay, can I speak?
Good.
You just lied on ADOS FBA. They're not denying their African lineage, no.
Oh yes,
they are aware of their African ancestry. They're not denying that.
No, they have to. They basically what it is. They hate the fact that they
don't change it. Don't change what you're saying. They hate the fact what?
They can't deny it's obvious. What appears is apparent. It's apparent they're African. So what they want to do is say there's some different.
How are they African? How are they African?
Because their bloodline, what they are, their DNA, everything, where they come from is African. That's what it is.
Everybody came from Africa, right?
No, everybody didn't come from Africa.
Where did the human race come from?
The human race came from Asia, Europe, everybody. Now I believe everybody came from Africa shit. That's what justifies everybody trying to invade the continent. You got people that we're all Africans, so they can come there and rape and pillage.
How can you say that 30 to 50 million people, ADOS FBA, came from Africa? How can you?
Because that's exactly where we come from.
Are you like a scientist, a DNA scientist?
Bro, dude. Do you know basic history?
Oh, you're going on history. If you go on history, you're gonna fail and try to prove.
So the black people in America, right? If they're not Africans, what are they?
Well, you dictating who they are.
I'm not dictating. This is what I'm saying. You can't just get online.
You don't have that authority to say who and what people
are.
I'm
not saying authority. I'm just saying it doesn't matter what you think you are. That's the truth. Black people are Africans.
Okay, let's say they're all Africans.
Why is he getting so upset, though? Look at this. Again, Pan-Africans think that they should be able to dictate to Black Americans what they're going to call themselves. And since we have decided to self-identify, even though I don't agree with the groups, I agree with the concept. And that's what Easy X is on the platform to also talk about. And yeah, you're right, Mr. Uganda. Every well-spoken Black man sounds like the white man in these streets. The jokes write themselves. Exactly. He wants us to be yelling and screaming and, acting a fool, typical that, I've heard that before. Let's go.
So what?
No, that's all we're saying. Yeah, you're Africans,
So is that end of argument? You don't have to go around this circle of Pan-African bullshit anymore?
No, I'm just saying that the bottom line is the ADOS FBA movement have a problem with the Pan-African world because we're with Africa, and they're saying, no, we're not Africans, we're Americans, we're not. And the bottom line.
What's wrong with them saying that?
Okay, let's say they say they're Americans, right? They say they're Americans, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you understand the way the world looks, right? To the victor belongs the spoils, right? Show me what benefit do they get out of just saying we're just Americans and we're not anything else and everything. White people will say.
Why are you bringing white people?
I'm trying to say this. I never heard of Italian Americans say I'm not from Italy. I've never heard an Irishman say I'm not from Ireland.
This is such an old.
Is that the truth though? White people, many generations in America, Germans. So I'm from Germany, but I'm an American, right?
So
these people basically saying they didn't come from Africa and they
bring white people into the argument to prove your point.
No, just take another group of people, the Chinese. You got Chinese
that have been bringing another group of people into the argument, regardless of what what they are to prove your point. Why don't we just stick to black melanated?
Like I said, that's why I said this is the ugly side of Black America. We're the only group of people. They're not from where they are.
Leave them alone. Let them decide who they want to be.
Well, they decide what they want to be, but we're pushing back against that. That's what we do. We're pushing back against that. Why? Because
why are you pushing back against that?
Because the bottom line is we don't want our brothers and sisters in Africa to think that is anywhere.
Africa does not dictate anything above.
Right now, Africa's
No. ADOS is not trying to press themselves against Africans.
Well, we are. You know what I'm saying? The most productive black people in America are interested in Africa. They say, hey, why not?
The most productive? How many is that?
Well, we could play the movie, the African Blacks Without Borders, right? Blacks in South Africa, and do stuff like that. You know, people taking millions of dollars. There's African Americans who are investing millions of dollars in Africa right now as we speak.
Like who? The U.S. government.
You don't even know. You don't even know what the argument is.
The U.S. government is investing more than anybody.
Where's the U.S. government? The U.S. government
Let me just say this. Your President Ado, he was here at least 3 times minimum last year in 2023 asking the U.S. government for money, which he received. Ghana is still bankrupt. And you guys want to go invest in Ghana. How stupid is that? The pan-African mentality is so stupid, man. You're investing in a country that's bankrupt. What kind of mentality is that?
We're doing our stuff. Hey, Bamani, when you go to Ghana, did you make a lot of money on your tours?
Oh my gosh! Listen,
my brother, we do profitable business. That's all I can tell you.
Your President Ado was here 3 times last year asking
profitable country to do business in.
It's a fact he was here asking for money, loans, which he got from the American government.
What about Ukraine? Ukraine came here begging for money.
Why are you bringing Ukraine? We're not talking about
you want to use an example? I'll use an example.
Let's
this guy
talk about Ado in Ghana.
And he meets with Joe Biden, right? Doesn't he have a suit and tie on? Has a T-shirt on, right? And he this for $80 billion.
Your argument by using Europeans is failing.
So what I'm saying is this though: if you have people that come in, every people come in from all over the world asking the United States government, that's what governments do.
We're talking about Ado, the president of Ghana.
You want to single him out?
What?
You want to single Ado out? When you got countries from all over Israel, the United States gives Israel $5 billion a year. So you want to complain about that?
Israel does not concern me, nor does Ukraine.
Yeah, so you don't worry about that because they got access to American money, right? But
Black Americans are not investing in Ukraine or Israel. They're not going there in mass.
If America really cared about us, America would be giving countries like Ghana billions of dollars.
Okay, so that's your point, right? You want America to care about you, right?
Hold on. On one hand, you're telling me that I'm not American. Now you're telling me I'm not American.
I'm not telling you you're not American.
So the bottom line, okay, if I'm an American, it's like the prodigal son. I want my inheritance. I want America to stop being stingy. I want America to stop.
How dumb it is for these men, or in particular Kala, to be arguing like this, but he wants us to follow him to investing in Africa, or investing in so-called building your own village or whatever the hell he thinks he can build. He's not equipped to know how to do any of this building, but all he knows how to do is argue. He can't convince any of us to do any of the things in which he's trying to have us do, because all he showcases is the ability to complain, to yap, and to point fingers. This is all Pan-Africans steadily doing, saying, what is Black Americans doing? We're living, surviving like everybody else. Why do we have to do more than everybody else? There's something wrong with this picture where other people is living and surviving, trying to maintain or trying to survive the best that they can, but somehow we can't simply do that. That's what Pan-Africans saying. We're being lazy if we're trying to maintain our survival. We need to do above and beyond what every other people are called to do. They're not called to do, but somehow we're supposed to have this extra responsibility. That's what Pan-Africans believe. That's our responsibility to have. And that's what's not working out for me. That's why I'm anti-Pan-African, because they basically want to make us a mule for everybody. And they don't care to point the fingers at other people to do supposedly what they claim that they want us to be like. They don't badger nobody else like this, just us. Let me see what you guys are saying. No, panties do not live in Africa. And look at Kala hide in the dark. Addos Invented says. Exactly. You said Black Americans have brought our A game to the United States and America, and now everybody wants to feed off of us. Exactly. After everything that we've done, we're just for them to feast off of is what it is. And they're like, just walk away from America and come to Africa and do what your forefathers have done and do it again in Africa. Again, it's not appealing to tell us to start all over from zero. Who wants to start all over from zero? With nothing. They want us to do that, though. And we're not believing in that. And they're upset about that. EDEC says Pan-Africanists siding with slick Africans who want to bankrupt Black Americans is the equivalent of small hats siding with Nazis to put us in oven, each which happened during World War II. Sink in my head. Exactly. Miss Uganda says, every time I catch their show towards the end, Bamani barely even speaks, but I always hear collagenesis going back and forth with somebody. Always arguing. But we're supposed to believe he's a leader. 500 years, we are Americans, period. Exactly. They don't know how to accept that, Miss D. And ADOS and Bennett says they are desperate. The week after Bamani had those shades on, he had a black eye. The next week, what? Now he wears makeup. I have 50 and you can see it real good. What? Did he say that he got a black eye from fighting or something? I didn't catch that part. And black is our ethnicity, Len M says. Exactly. Lisa D says, why don't these pennies ever leave America and relocate permanently to Africa? Again, because it's a dream, but they want our money. And they're trying to hustle us out of thousands of dollars towards a dream that they are not even showcasing what they're able to do, but we're supposed to just blindly believe them. That's what pan-Africanism is, believing us blindly. They don't have to allow bullying, libel, and defamation is a crime. Adios and Bennett says, calling them a hate group is libel and defamation. ADOS FBA has a right to delineate, identify, and protect their home and reputation free of gaslighting, taunting, and stigmas. Sue them. Man, it's getting kind of hairy, though, isn't it? That's true, ADOS. Len says, facts, there is something wrong in Africa. Africans are fleeing from the continent. Exactly. It's not. It can't be our paradise if people don't want to be there, that are there. Ms. D says he's taken all this mess, but he won't live in Africa. Facts. Ms. D says they're trying to separate us. We are not tribal like the countries in Africa. Facts. Lisa D says we live rent-free in their football-shaped heads. Yes. You said I could only watch a few minutes of his lives before going back to sleep, Mr. Uganda says. Unless you have money, Africa is not realistic. There's 3 million Africans here. You have to ask yourself what's wrong in Africa. Facts. It's supposed to be better resources and all that, but they wouldn't be fleeing like they are if it was that great. Gina says correction is actually 4. Oh, okay, I read that. Let me go back up, down. I'm interested to see if he has on shades right now, Bamani. I don't know, but I think they were paid to get a certain amount of Americans in Africa They may have to issue refunds because Americans have lost their interest in and for Africa, ADOS Invented says. It's not a widespread desire. They're making it seem like it is propaganda-wise on social media, but I don't know anybody personally that's talking about going to Africa like that. I've never even heard nobody wanting to travel there. So I don't know what all this hogwash talk is all about, but again, they are offended that we're not on this bandwagon like they thought that they could influence us to be on. And that's why you hear the frustrations of what Pan-Africans are saying right now. Ms. D says, facts. Many Africans come here to get our benefits and hide behind us. Unfortunately, that's what they've been doing. And, you know, it's not hate speech, it's just acknowledging that they have been able to get away with doing it. And that's why we're finally saying, you know what, we need to have our own identity so that people can't do that no more. That's not fair for them to dip in and out of our identity. And then when they become successful, finally they find and remember who they are, and then make fun of us for their success and whatnot. That's what they keep doing, and that's not fair. Yeah, they're failing bad because even though it's been a movement for a while, it's not picking up speed in America. That's why they're attacking ADOS and FBA, because they're trying to make that be the reasoning behind us not being so interested. But after all the frauds that have happened and scams that have happened in the last 4 or 5 years, it has discouraged people from investing anymore. And so people are not believing in this notion of throwing money anymore at Africa like that. Safe Brother says, yeah, I saw that live Kella did with Bonani. I was in the chat and think I pissed him off because I was calling him out. You were? Lynn M says, panties say we are the same, so we shouldn't delineate. Panties say Black Americans should leave America, but Africans and Caribbeans are fleeing to America. Panties are clowns. Exactly. The great replacement of what Pan-Africans are trying to get us to do is ridiculous. Mr. Uganda says, LOL, LMAO. They don't understand Uganda politics, so Khaled needs to be more informed. Edek says, Tariq Nasheed is a con man. I believe so too. He does not speak for me. Exactly. Nor would I ever allow him to. He only impressed the uninformed. Unfortunately, that's true. It's a good idea, though, to have the notion of self-identifying. I just think that we should individually self-identify personally and steer clear of FBA and ADOS in case it does not manifest something positive. Because if it does turn into a hate group, you don't want no association with that kind of thing. You don't want the feds looking at you like that, in my opinion. And M says, I think they are getting paid. I think they are. Because why are they getting so emotional? He's getting so rude, Mr. Ghana says. Exactly. Len M says these panties are only focused on Black Americans. They don't address Jamaicans, Haitians, Brazilians, Colombians, and the majority of slaves went to those places. Exactly. They never have a word to say to anyone else but us. Kala is not a descendant of chattel slavery. I don't care what he claims. He is a Caribbean or African, period. He must be. He says he has family in the Caribbean. I never heard him say that before. I wonder where from and how. Mr. Uganda says I read that. Okay, why can't they ask Africans on the ground what they think of ADOS, FBA? Mr. Uganda says Kala shouldn't be speaking for them either. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure they have a bad taste in their mouth about FBA in particular because of what Tariq Nasheed does all the time. Every time I turn around, he has Twitter spaces going after so-called tethers, and I think it's just putting a target on our back more. I think that it's going to allow more people to hate us more better. And I don't think that he's doing us a service as people assume he is, in my opinion. Lynn says we are an acclamation. We went to an ethnogenesis. We are Black Americans, facts. What's up, Tyron? How you doing? You said Calogenesis, Lex Vortex, Brandon, Monty, Dinus, Afro Think Tank are so arrogant. I hope they get their just desserts when it comes to their Africa ideology. I would not care what happens to any of them, to be honest with you. I would not bat an eye if I heard something bad. I would be like, you earned what you get. If they get scammed, if they get kidnapped, if they get unalived, for how they talk against us all the time, how disrespectful they are against us all the time, that's why I wouldn't care. I'm not normally a cold-hearted person, but because they're always talking shit against us, that's what makes me not care no more. Pinky, what's up? How you doing, Pinky Wells? You said, did anyone hear Carlos say the panties pushing back on us being American, but he accused Easy Acts of telling him he wasn't American? Exactly. They have this issue about us claiming American. Why don't I have this same vigor to tell Africans and other immigrants that they're not American? You see how that is? They just want us to believe that we're not American, that we don't belong here. Tyron says Hotep's and contradicting Tariq is claiming we're exclusively claiming American Indian and demanding our reparations and delineating from Black homogenesis clump as an anti-African. Shaking my head. Lynn M says Africans who were born in America say they are American, but they have a problem with people who have been in America 500 years, and have no African culture to say that they are not African. Exactly. Crazy. Pinky Wells says Bomani is Jamaican, Kala is Caribbean, the country. I'm not sure. Mr. Ghana says, who got a black eye? She said, ADOS and Bennett said that Bomani had a black eye somehow. Tyron says, did you see that video about that passport brother explaining about being kidnapped by cartel? Yeah, and breaking his leg and stripping to get away. Yeah, I did a video on that about 2-3 weeks ago. ADOS and Bennett says, I don't know. He even said in his video, Tariq talks about his Caribbean people. Exactly. I just heard that for the first time. And Mr. Uganda says, how does Genesis have family in the Caribbean? I thought he was a Black American. Exactly. So he contradicted himself. And maybe he just called himself out right then and there. Maybe he is truly, really a Caribbean posing to be a Black American and is upset about us not believing in him.
They do all this money they waste around the
So
world.
your gripe is with America, the government, right?
No, I'm not
not the ugly side of Black people.
I'm saying, if you're going to single Ghana out, why isn't America investing in Ghana? Why is America not giving Ghana the same amount of money it's giving Israel?
Oh my gosh.
And we're supposed to be Americans, right? That's how U.S. taxpayer money going over to Ukraine and whatnot, you know?
Yes, your money and my money is going to Ukraine.
Oh yeah, so the bottom line is this. So I'm asking my question, why can't you give some of that money to the Black countries and whatnot, you know? So why miss me with all that American stuff?
Do you know how much America does give to Black African countries?
They give the whole continent a total of $1 billion.
And it's okay, so what? It's divided up, right?
Okay, divided by 54 countries. Well, that's nickels and dimes.
Ado must have got a special privilege because he came here 3 times last year.
But he didn't get jacked and whatnot. You know, he gets lip service.
Well, he got a promissory note.
A promissory note. Ukraine,
and maybe
they're investigating now, saying a lot of that money that went to Ukraine went offshore, is missing.
Stop talking about Ukraine.
No, I'm just saying that you want to bring Ado up or not.
Maybe Ado didn't get it because he's not a good statesman. He doesn't run his country well.
He at least came here dressed like a statesman, right? He had a suit and tie on, talk with this guy, Luzinski, was a former
Why do you keep bringing Ukraine into this?
And so the bottom line, you guys giving Ukraine's going to lose. Russia's going to take
Why do you keep bringing Ukraine into this?
Yeah, because it stops you.
I tell you what, who invests in Africa? You know who invests into Africa more than the U.S.? Russia. China.
Well, Russia's out for its own interest, but I'm talking about here. I'm not
countries. You want to compare other
my ancestors built this country, you know? If it was not for Black people in America, this country would not exist.
Don't give me a history lesson. I know it.
So the bottom line, if I say, as an African American, Black American, I say that's my ancestral homeland, You're going to give up that our homeland the same respect that you give all these other countries that haven't did shit for America, or not the same respect.
Look at where you're going to demand respect to Africa. Demand respect here. Stop.
Bottom line, it's like this. You could be happy in America, and I'm happy I got a business here, but I'm not satisfied. I want it all, bro.
You want it all.
You guys don't want us going to Africa.
You know what?
Take the power away from you.
You're wrong. I encourage Black Americans.
You guys
listen to me. Listen to me.
What you guys want is the people that's going to Africa that don't have a plan, that's going there and failing.
No.
You don't like seeing people like me talk about Africa. That bothers me.
No. I'm listening to you, and what you're talking is gibberish foolishness. Let me tell you this.
Gibberish foolishness. We got stuff going on the ground on the African continent.
Let me tell you this. I agree with you. I think Black Americans should go to Africa and invest in Africa.
No. The Black people that want to build and contribute and build something should go to Africa.
Let me tell you what you guys do when you do get there. You go there and build. You plant banana trees and peanut farms and shit like that.
Guess what? One day those banana trees might turn into factories.
You're not revolutionary. You're not talking about bringing any arms there. You're not talking about taking out the colonizers.
We start creating a supply chain and distributions and get on the shelves in America in the millions of dollars, and we start creating jobs and economic opportunity. What are you going to say? So laugh at all peanuts that we're building.
Let me see you do it.
That's exactly what we're going to do. And that's exactly what's happening.
Okay, when is it going to bear fruit?
Delayed graduation. We're doing it right now. We don't get no help from the government.
Okay. Well, listen. I have nothing against what you're doing. I think you all should go. All of you Africans should go now. Leave tomorrow. Leave the other Black Americans that don't want to do that here.
We're going to be here and we're going to be over there.
Okay, well, if I had my way,
you ship us all back over there and you cut us off from America, but that's not going to happen.
Well, I tell you what, I wish you much success. All of you panties, okay? All you panties, okay?
Yeah,
and start doing your business and investment in bankrupt countries. These countries just want your money to pay their bankruptcy. That's what they want your money for.
Well,
okay?
We're building something on the African continent, and a matter of time before this all comes together.
What is the name of your organization, sir?
It's called the Black African Infrastructure Organization.
Explain it, please.
And the Black African, it means infrastructure. Infrastructure is financial, physical, and all logistics of Black people coming together under one platform to facilitate a global pipeline and logistics of business, trade, investment, culture, and everything. That's what we mean by infrastructure.
Okay. Your infrastructure have anything to do with kicking out the colonizers?
Well, what do you mean by colonizers? West Africa has no white settlements, so we have no colonizers in West Africa.
Who controls the cocoa and the gold over there?
That right there is about to change.
When is it going to change?
That right there is we have to change the mindset.
Oh, you got to change the mindset.
That is about to change because
whose minds are you going to change?
That right there, the gold of cocoa, we're not, because we in the West and everybody, we're not on the same page. Now we're all coming on the same page, and something right now, just like Burkina Faso just kicked out the French, right? Now they're building their own gold refinery. You got something to say about that?
More power to them.
And we have our partner, Mr. Rosenthal, building the African Bullion Bank in all the African countries and whatnot. He's a friend of mine, We have one in Angola, Congo.
What country is that?
Angola, the Congo.
So why are you investing in Ghana? It's bankrupt.
So the bottom line is this: we're doing what we can do with no help from the U.S. government.
Okay, understandably. Why don't you go over to Africa?
Look, we live in a global world. I can operate from here. I can operate from Antarctica if I can.
Okay, fine. Just do this one thing, if you can. I think it's very simple to do. panties stay on your side, non-panties stay on their side.
Yeah, you guys do that, but you guys always come to our chat rooms. You guys come to our programs. I never.
And they come to the chat rooms because they have our names in the title most of the time and talk shit about us most of the time. That's why we come to the chat rooms. That's why we come and argue. If you guys would not name us all the time in the titles, would not acknowledge us and just steer clear and only talk to the people that were Pan-Africans, we wouldn't have no reason to. But they're constantly badgering us and trying to shame us into trying to deal with Pan-Africans. Again, what has he built? He's saying that he's basically got a program where he hopes to get people to invest blindly into this so-called development opportunity that he's wanting to do. But there's no proof that they have anything that they have capable of. There's no proof that they're capable of building anything. But he keeps on selling a dream, and it sucks because it's not working out. He's failing. No one's believing him. No one's investing into their program, and that's why they're ultimately upset, because they thought after all these years of being on social media, by now they will have a steady flow of people contributing money and believing in the lie, and it's just not working out that way. So you guys are just witnessing how frustrated these Pan-Africans are over us not budging and believing in Pan-Africanism. It's a pipe dream. It's a figment of imagination. It's never, ever materialized in front of our face in America. So how could we believe it to happen in Africa? It's just a way of hustling us, though, for the ones that are dumb enough to believe it. And these Pan-Africans are so upset that we are not budging in our position to just worry about being an American in America. This is what this is all about. This is what they continually showcase to the world. And it's really ridiculous that they just argue with us for hours. This stream, I think it was like 5 hours plus. 5 hours and 52 minutes, y'all, of this.
Never go on a so-called FBA. First of all, they're arguing. You know,
I hardly ever go on a live stream.
You say I never look. I've never seen.
I appreciate.
I have not seen any. But all I do when we go to the FBA ADOS movement, like Mouthy Megan, people like that, all they do is bash immigrants all day and whatnot, talk about this. The
Black Americans are all ADOS, FBA. No.
All they do is talk about hatred of Black immigrants. They never talk about white people. They never talk about Mexicans. They never talk about anybody else but Black immigrants. You don't think that's strange?
You need to go on those pages and tell them what you're.
I don't want to go on those pages. They're a waste of time. We're winning. We're winning. We're won this war.
What is there to win?
We're winning. We're building what we're going to build.
I'm just saying separate.
Our ideology take fruit. Our ideology is winning. We're taking fruit.
Your cult is winning?
No, not a cult. It's a movement. We're winning.
Okay. Get back to me in 5 years, bro.
I'm saying, yeah, well, in about 5 years, we won't see me on YouTube. It's gonna be done with. We'll be done with all this stupid stuff.
Mr. Bumani, thanks again for having me on.
Hold on. So let me read what you guys are saying. It says, "Thank you all for participating in the chat room. By the way, I really appreciate you. It makes the live a whole lot better. This again is not Islamophobic attack, and all videos is under fair use for educational and research purposes. I'm just highlighting the fact that it's very ironic that Pan-Africanism again seems to think that Black Americans have to do what they want us to do, have to identify as they see fit for us to identify. And now that we're not doing none of those things, they are very upset about it. Again, we're not as easily manipulated as they thought or hoped that we would be right about now. And it's showcasing itself in front of the world with their frustration and them not being able to handle the not interested of us saying, again, we're not interested, and they just are having a hissy. Charlie Shaw says, so they don't get foreign aid. You said anything? Am I missing something? Africa, I think, gets $55 billion was supposedly allotted to them by the United States to be given to Africa. I don't know if they got it yet or they're about to get it or whatever, but they're constantly begging for more and more money from other countries or other lenders, the IMF, the World Bank, United States, and whatnot. But we're supposed to want to live in Africa when they can't even manage their own affairs in Africa. And they're just in they're in trouble. Africa is in trouble with their economy. And for people to put so much money and faith in investing in Africa, again, I wouldn't trust it. That's just me from what I've seen. Miss Uganda Pinky says that Penny-ish is a rich scam. Bamani selling tours, caps, t-shirts. This heart on my phone covers up my ability to read. I hate it. I don't know how to delete that shit either. Seeing the inside his junkie house on the other video. Lynn M says, my passport says that I'm American from the United States of America. My birth certificate says I'm a Negro. Mine says I'm black on my birth certificate. Charlie Shaw says, so they don't get foreign aid anymore? No, they do. But I think Biden is doing the same thing he does with Black Americans, which is say one thing and not do nothing. Normally speaking, that's how he does us. Any of us as Black folks, and including Africans. He doesn't like Black people at all, whether you're African or not. He doesn't like any of us. He's a racist. So he says whatever he needs to say to get Africans to do what he wants them to do and not really do what he claims he's going to do. But he definitely helps out Ukraine and Afghanistan and Russia, not Russia, but Ukraine and Afghanistan and Israel, of course. Tyron says, how is it going to change if Kala has no army, weaponry, or researchers that stop Western powers from using African child labor for coltan, cobalt, lithium, and blood, diamond, coca bean, and organ harvesting? Exactly. And, you know, Umar Johnson had made a comment about the child forced labor of the coltan, cobalt situation. And he's like trying to make us shame to have phones, but Africans have phones from the same situation that we get phones. So if anyone should feel some kind of way, it should be the Africans, that especially that come from like Congo and all these places that are getting these resources from them. They should feel some kind of way, but they want us to feel shamed, and only us. For some strange reason, that's how it is. Miss Uganda says, Pinky Wells, they are in good position to raise awareness about the Caribbean. The Caribbean has a lot of human resources that isn't being utilized properly, hence the brain drain. Such a shame. And they're not interested. These Pan-Africans are not even interested in the plight of Haitians. All the stuff that they've been going through. They don't bother to say anything about their plight. They don't say they want to help them, get any of their people to go live with them. They don't want to rescue nobody from nothing. Only people that have money, they want them to come. That's it. Pinky Wells says, shame us into saying we're Africans. Again, it was never been an issue. 10 years ago, I don't remember any of this. Just the past 5 years has been going on. Lynn M says, panties need to go to Africa and work in the mindset of the African people, and good luck with that. Exactly. If they really want to be African and they believe they're African, then go be there. Go live among the Africans and help build. But they're not. They want our money is what the problem is. They want our money because they are fixated on this $1.3 trillion spending so-called power that Black Americans have that we really don't have, but they keep saying that we have it. Pinky says, and they both live in America, and they're not going nowhere. They're only going to visit. I think that he only goes to Liberia maybe once a year. He has a wife in Liberia that he doesn't even bother to come bring her back to America, which is really strange. Tyron says, wait, I thought black infrastructure was BAIO. Search for Euro. I don't know what in the world he's talking about with this so-called infrastructure, because infrastructure, when I think about it, is like building a house or building a complex or something like that. And he is not building anything. So what is he talking about? I'm confused. Mr. Uganda says, if they are Caribbean, then they should focus on CARIBCOM. To be honest, it is about social and economic integration of Caribbeans and also deals with supply and demand that Kala is looking for. Exactly. Tyron says, preach, Dion. Kala don't speak for us. Exactly. None of them do. Pinky Wells says, Bonnie kept his mouth shut. He doesn't hardly speak at all. It's like he must be half asleep on these lives, taking naps and stuff, because he just lets colleges go on about his business, yapping all over the place. Tyron says, chickens come home to roost with collagenesis. Exactly. And Tyron says, collagenesis insults his ancestors and worships the African who blood sacrificed him into slavery. It's really odd how things have turned and how people want to exalt one other people over another. I never will understand that. I don't get it. Let's see, where was I? I'm an American, no need to go to any African country. And that's not hate speech, although some people will hear that and take that as being self-hating, which is really bizarre. But at the same time, everybody else can do as they want and no one says a word about it. They just constantly pick on us. That's why I'm against pan-Africanism in a nutshell. I lost my spot. Lynn M says, I'm learning to spot them too. A lot of Caribbean immigrants to America are panties. A lot of them are, aren't they? Yes, they are. And he won't give up his citizenship, but talk shit about us. I wish that they would strip them of them citizenship, since they talk against America all the time. Colin sounds like he has rocks in his mouth. Okay. Lynn M says, a lot of these first and second generation born immigrants say they are black Americans. They have just attached themselves to our identity. It's sad. That's why we're delineating, because we never thought that people would be doing that, but they are. And so the numbers for us being black American is not as high as we think, because we have a lot of people utilizing our identity, thus the need to delineate. We don't know what our true numbers are. And they want us to forget about our identity and not take it as being important to us. But it should be important to us, like our own house or car or our own identification, ownership. We should have the same protectiveness over what our identity is about as well. And that's why ADOS and FBA was a good idea, but I just don't like the leaders. You said go back to when he had on those black Gugama shades from then the video after he has a black eye. I'm not sure which one that is though. I don't watch him all the time, just sometimes. You said Kala is not a black American. He might be a first gen anchor. Yep. I'm starting to believe that now. I missed your comment, Martin. Thank you for coming through though. Tyron says, Rob Moist don't care about the Haitian self. He only cares about appropriating Mandinka and Nigeria. Exactly. It's weird how Caribbeans would forego their own nationality, their own people, literally in their own country, to talk about their African more than they are Nigerian, Haitian or Jamaican. And Jamaicans got it bad. I don't know what is wrong with them. You said he cleared them and he was calm and collected. Yeah, he stayed cool, calm, and collected. The U.S. gives billions of dollars to Africa. That's Black Americans' tax dollar. You said, I forgot Ross Moyes wasn't in the space. Mr. Uganda says, hope he is well. He's still talking about he's African. Haitian Pan-Africans are the most specific as to how they are connected to the continent. Mr. Uganda says, who are connected to. And Martin Norwood says, you're right. Infrastructure means building roads and building. Our folks better read. This is covering it up, the salvation. Anyways, I really appreciate everybody for coming through. I hope that this was informative as to why Pan-Africanism is such a thorn in our side and how we are being manipulated, especially by the likes of Phil Scott. Phil Scott is not our ambassador. He does not have the reign to tell us what to do as far as getting passports or traveling or anything, although he's making a lot of money by convincing others that they need to. He's very disrespectful to Black Americans who do not want to be on the game plan of what he has in mind for us to do. Fuck you, Phil. You're not my ambassador. You're not my leader. I don't even think you really should be acknowledged as anything but an opportunist, a parasite to the community. Someone that's made a whole lot of money with downgrading and talking shit about Black American women as being ratchet and baby mamas. And now you are put on other hat with this African talk. And you make a lot of money, but you do not use that money to bless anybody in America. So you don't have the right to wag your finger and talk shit about what we're not doing as Black Americans. It is our prerogative to do as we want to do, just like everybody else is doing and leading their life. Other people don't have this stress on them to have to go save Africa or have to go visit Africa. But supposedly Black Americans are supposed to be on this what do you call it, pressure that is being applied unnecessary to us. And I'm saying, fuck that. Don't listen to the likes of Phil Scott. Save your money for hard times. Things in America is getting worse. Programs are getting slashed. The cost of living is getting higher and higher for people not to be able to afford. I don't think that we as a whole can afford to throw money towards traveling all over the place. It doesn't make sense to do if you're going to find yourself in a bind 2-3 months later. And that will be the condition for most of us. Not like what Phil Scott got going on, because he's living high off the hog. And now that he's got a new status about himself, now he wants to talk shit about what we're not doing and not willing to do. And it's very unfortunate that these type of men get away with not being held accountable to what they're able to get from our community. And no one is like trying to get him to do more. No one is saying nothing about why is he not helping out the community more since he has all these subscribers and gets all this money every month. No one says anything. But he's allowed to be a Robin Hood thief in our community, posing as somebody that's a benefit to us, and he's not. He's a benefit to himself and his Mexican family. That's who he's blessing, ultimately his wife's family. And he can pretend to be a Pan-African for Black folks while not illustrating that fact. That is the hypocrisy of Pan-Africanism. They don't have to display anything they preach, but they sure know how to make money off of us. And I don't appreciate none of it. You said, Pinky says, never forget Phil Scott. Tariq was partners with Tommy Sotomayor, all made their money talking about Black American women. That's what I remember seeing him when I first came on to social media. That's the first thing that I noticed about Phil Scott when he was the Advice Show. He used to talk about Black American women all the time. And once he transitioned to talk about Africa all the time, then that's when and only when we started to be called sisters. and not ratchet. But he still, from time to time, still brings that rhetoric up because that's in him. He doesn't like Black American women, I believe, just like many of these incel types of men or men that have been rejected by Black American women. They hold on to the hate that they've had all that time, and they take that out on us. For the last video I'm going to play is to showcase again, Dr. Umar Johnson, again, is trying to call out FBA and ADOS as being African Islamic phobic. Again, this notion of trying to tag us as Islamic phobic, even though I don't believe in their group, I think that we have a right to self-identify, whatever we want to be called. But just listen to Umar Johnson, who again is another fraudster, just like Phil Scott. Got all those donations. What does he do for the community? Talk shit about what we're not doing. That's what he does.
Separate yourself away from our African immigrant brothers and sisters so you don't have to share any of your resources from your reparations package is selfish, ridiculous, and unnecessary. We approach the issues that affect our people from a global perspective. We need Africa. Africa needs us. The entire diaspora is interconnected and interdependent. We need each other. Yes, there's Africans who don't like African Americans. There's African Americans who don't like Caribbean Africans. There's Caribbean Africans who don't like British Africans. There's Canadian Africans who don't like Brazilian Africans. Yes, we have bigotry within the African race, but I'm bigger than that. And the Pan-African movement is bigger than that. And we understand that united we stand, divided we fall. To simply answer your question, you don't have to demonize African immigrants, and you don't have to weaponize your American African identity in order to protect your share of reparations. It's an unnecessary evil that was added to the pot that is undoing the relationship between Africans and the diaspora that many of us have been working towards for the greater part of our lives. And I would dare suggest, I don't think it's true, but it's possible, it at least has to be considered, whether or not these movements are being financed by anti-African interests. Because these organizations really take off when? Around 2019, which is the year of return, when African governments was reaching their hands out to Africans in the diaspora saying, come home and be with us. I was in Ghana for the year of return celebration in 2019. So you mean to tell me it's just a coincidence that at a time when Pan-Africanism is at its height, these anti-African immigrant groups come from out of nowhere and start attacking and demonizing and criticizing and belittling African immigrants at the very time that the Pan-African movement is beginning to take off again? I wouldn't be surprised if I read a COINTELPRO paper 10 years from now that say that this was financed by the FBI. I'm not saying it is, because I think they would have chose better people to lead these movements if it was a government-financed thing. But I'm not going to rule it out. I'm not going to rule out the potential that there's some government involvement in these anti-Pan-African movements. Because let us be clear, the United States government has already spoken. It's been spoken of several times in national security study memorandums that the unification of American Africans and continental Africans is the greatest threat to American foreign interests. This comes from the State Department. The State Department said the only threat to what we try to do to this world, which is basically dominated, is the...
Here's a travel hack I bet you didn't know about. When you're planning a trip, costs can easily start to add up, which is why I love using Turo. It's an app to book cars in every major city in the U.S. There's great built-in full
interconnected political economic unity of American Africans and African Americans. Not Christianity, not Islam, not this, not that. Pan-Africanism is the only threat America has identified as being a risk to its global agenda.
Is that even a possibility that we could connect back with each other in that manner?
Why not?
When I have some African friends that close friends with me, like, I have, we get shout out to all my brothers in the city that we like slept together like brothers. And they expressed a lot of deep stuff to me, and they only trusted me because I'm West Indian. They did not, they definitely believe and taught in their culture, if you're American Black, that you are bad. Mm-hmm. And the only reason I would even accept it is because, my West Indian background. So I'm wondering, again, how do we do with that bridge? How do we even, if they don't even,
right? Well, it's how do we have to make sure we don't overgeneralize? As I said earlier, there's bigotry in every African population in the world, everywhere. There's nowhere you're going to go and not find some Black people who ain't got an issue with some Black people from somewhere else. But guess what? White people go through the same thing. Jews think they're better than Italians. Italians think they better than the French. French think they're better than the Irish. Let's go to the Asians. Chinese think they're better than Koreans. Koreans think they're better than Vietnamese. Japanese think they're better than the rest of them. So you have that in every race. So we don't have to be a utopia. The question is, can there be operational unity? And I believe that there can be, because as someone who's traveled every continent except Australia, where I'll be in the spring, there are genuine Pan-Africanists in Africa who want that unity. There are genuine Pan-Africanists.
And he uses all this money of travel that he gets from donations and he gets for this so-called school. That's all Pan-Africans do, is bumbling, traveling tourist who makes speeches and makes money off of the brow of us. And I'm sick of these hypocritical Pan-Africans, such as Phil Scott, such as Umar Johnson, they don't do nothing for the community but talk shit and talk down to Black Americans and disrespect us every waking moment that they get. Him calling us American Africans, who designated him to, change our identity, again, against our will. They have no respect for our identity and our choices to choose our identity. Pan-Africans have no respect at all for Black Americans and what we desire to call ourselves. This is why they come after ADOS, and this is why they come after FBA. Their only social media names, though, but it is helping the mentality of Black Americans understand that we are worth more than what was given to us by the government with issuing out our name. So self-identifying yourself gives you a sense of more pride than you would have by just accepting an issued governmental name that the government hands to you every 40, 50 years. And I think that it is imperative personally that individually we should go get notarized a declaration of our identity as we want to be known to be in front of a witness to sign off. And I think that once you get your new driver's license or ID, use that identity to put on your new identification to help you feel better about who you are and fight back against these people that are trying to make us into Africans. There's no offense to Africans, but we are American. This is all I've ever been. Why do I need to change now? For the sake of Pan-Africans? No, I'm not willing to do that. They have an agenda against us, obviously. That's why it's a hot topic whenever we talk about identity. And it's a hot topic about who are these Black Americans? Where are they from? Every single day, that's all we keep hearing. People won't let it go and move on to another topic. We have so many other topics to talk about that's affecting us overall as Americans. And instead of talking about those topics, we're stuck on stupid with who are these Black Americans and where are you from? And why aren't you trying to go to Africa? And why won't you invest in Africa? This strain and pressure is uncalled for. I am against Pan-Africanism. I am the Pan-African killer, and I don't give a damn. Like I said, I have nothing against Africans. I wish them well. There are a lot of Africans that could do more than what they're doing, but a lot of them are living their best life and they don't look back. That's not my problem that they don't look back, and it's not my problem that the governments of different countries refuse to upgrade how they manage their resources and how they deal with other globalizers and colonizers. They're scared, I guess. I don't know. But I have nothing to do with what is going on in Africa, whether Africa is successful or it fails. I have nothing to do with it. But people are trying to make it an issue that we have to now involve ourselves in, again, against our will.
In Jamaica who want that unity. There are genuine Pan-Africanists in Canada and France and London and in South America who want that unity. The issue is those of us who want it got to come together. That's all it is. Let's be honest. The white man is doing everything he can to keep us apart. Do you know that I've been told by Africans that when they come here, they're told by immigration not to mix with us. They're told. And another thing I think that we often discount, that the African immigrants, and I'm not saying anything bad against my African immigrant brothers and sisters, the Africans you meet in America are a certain kind of an African. They're the ones that the country felt comfortable enough with to let them over here. They're not letting the Pan-African revolutionaries over here. You understand me? They let that 3% that we got, it's a certain kind. The radicals don't get it. I got friends in Africa who were trying to get a visa for 30 years to visit me in America. Won't let them out the country. You know why? Because they're real. You see what I'm saying? In a lot of African countries, you got to play the lottery to get a visa. You got to win the lottery to get a visa. Whether you can afford it or not, they don't even care. They only let a few of you out because they don't want the unity amongst the revolutionary Pan-Africans. So we're judging an entire continent of nearly 1 billion people by a couple million African immigrants who happen to dance to the tune that America wants them to. We got to be careful with that. And so many brothers and sisters who take issue with the Pan-African program and who actually espouse the viewpoint that you just argued, they never been to the continent. You got people saying Africa don't want us. You never been there. You see, so my thing is we got to broaden our horizons. And at the end of the discussion, what this really is about, it's about American Africans who believe they have a future with the white man that offers more promise than a future with the black man elsewhere. That's the bottom line here. All these people.
Speaking of the same man that refuses to go live in Africa, he has no excuse. He refuses to go live in Africa. He refuses to renounce his citizenship. But 1 year he told us to renounce our citizenship. He actually said that like a couple of years ago, suggested that we renounce our citizenship while he's not renouncing his. But this is the hypocrisy of Pan-Africans. Do as I say, not as I do. I'll just travel the world and talk shit about Black Americans and talk about what we need to do for unity when it's evident that there's no unity to be found in Africa overall. I'm sure that there are decent people here and there, but collectively the mindset is too tribalistic for unity to be a reality on the ground and anywhere where it comes to with Black people. Look at Jamaica and Haiti, how bad off they are. They have their own country and it's going down the drain by other ethnicities taking over, the Chinese and whatnot, the Indians and whatnot. Whose fault was that? It's not our fault. But instead of trying to point out other people's plight, talk about the Haitians and what they're going through, they skip all the others and only focus and hone in on Black Americans. We are the gift that keeps on ticking as far as being scapegoated, as far as being gaslit, as far as being blamed for everything going wrong in the world. And everybody uses us as a scapegoat. White people do it. Small hats do it. Africans do it. Black Americans do it. And Pan-Africans do it. We don't get a break. But like I said, with the Bobby Brown song, It's My Prerogative, I would say, don't pay these clowns no never mind. Do what you feel best to do for your survival. Try to save your money and look out for what's coming down the road, because what's happening in America with the migrants is really serious. It is going to directly and indirectly affect us overall as Black people, as Americans. And this is what we need to have discussions about, but we are not. Somehow we stay clear of talking about real topics that are affecting us today. And we stay on talking about Kemet, talking about returning to Africa, talking about building somewhere else. You're not. It's all about escapism and not trying to do for self here in America, not trying to fight back against what's happening against us and dreaming about somewhere else as if somewhere else is better, as if somewhere else has no other issue or problem. That's delusion. And most of us are delusional, unfortunately. And hopefully we'll wake up to all these types of scam artists, such as Phil Scott, such as Umar Johnson, who only makes a killing off of us, and they offer nothing back but their bitch ass words, talking shit about who we are and what we're not doing for Africa or traveling. We don't have to travel if we don't want to. It's our prerogative. Worry about your own damn self. But again, they won't, because we are the sheep that keeps on giving them money, and they want to keep that flow coming, and they're never ever going to leave us alone, because we are the people that are consumers and they want our money, and that's what it is. So I have no respect for Umar Johnson. I don't know why he is perceived as being a leader. I look at him as a joke. I don't even think he's intelligent. I think he just babbles. And I don't appreciate all this babbling that he does. And now Phil Scott is feeling himself. Now that he's made all this comfortable money and is coming in nice and easy, and he's making other streams of money coming in, he's feeling himself, and he's getting in him his feelings about how he can talk disrespectful now to us about us not wanting to do what he suggests. And I'm not going to change my position because of your suggestion, Phil Scott. You have no authority over here, and I don't respect your bitch ass. Okay? Give money to the damn community, and then I'll believe you that you care about black people. Other than that, shut the fuck up. Mr. Uganda says, and the islands are a mix of Africans too. Okay? Tyron says, why do we need to travel, then fix out own family and community at home? Yeah, why can't we just stay here and do something? Charlie Shaw says, the defiant lawyer did his reaction to Cameron. Some baby boomer, boule, Pan-African Negro who's talking crazy, calling us ignorant and trying to tell us how we should identify. Again, that's most of them. The boule are mostly Pan-African. They're globalists. They envision us to be colonized to the debt of Africa. They have no respecter of us and our freedoms and us having a choice to choose. They think that we should not have a choice to choose and they should be able to force us to do what they want us to do. That's why they talk crazy to us all the time. Mr. Uganda says the islands are a mix of white Europeans, black Europeans, indigenous Indians, natives, East and South Asians. No one can make the assumption over their genealogy. Not all black is the same. Exactly. It's like, why can't we just respect our differences? I like to learn other people, but people don't want to understand and learn us. They think that we need to be corrected, that somehow we're not okay as is, and that is dangerous. Tyron says, come together to do what? Be black supremacist cause Africans ain't advocating for our tangibles, restitution, or reparations. They're thinking about themselves overall. And again, Pan-Africanism is one-sided. It's not reality. Mr. Uganda says the rabbit hole is deep. Lynn M says all skin folk ain't kin folk. And Lynn M says Europeans called that continent Africa in the late 1800s. That's right, because we were called Negro. We weren't called African. And then suddenly it slipped in through Prince Hall, I believe. The Freemasonry brought African to America in the 1800s or 1700s, talking about a declaration to free the slaves. And that's when that African term was brought to America. But we weren't known as African back in 1700s at first. We were called Negroes. Pinky Wells says, Martin Luther King says we are not African and we will have to accept the fact that we are American. Facts. Mr. Uganda says, we have to remember that some Caribbeans and Maroons, which betrayed people on their island and made separate treaties with the Europeans, not all black folks is family. Exactly. And those same bloodlines still work with those globalizers today. Why are we pretending like they don't exist? That's the part that really bothers me. Len M says our enslaved ancestors were never called Africans. Our enslaved ancestors were called Negroes. Exactly. And Pinky Wells says black Americans are being pulled to too many directions. Exactly. That's why we're scatterbrained right now. Tyron says Amazing Lucas does the same shit to calling us American Africans. Exactly. They have an agenda. Len M says the Klan is behind Pan-Africanism. Yeah. Yes, you're right. Mr. Uganda says, for black, please pass me the link for that video. I feel vindicated. Which video? Which one? Tyron Marcus Garvey was an ally to the Klan. Umar is tone deaf as hell. Yeah. Which video are you referring to? Pinky Wells says the black community is on the shoulders. And the shoulders hurt. F. Black American Tariq needs to use his platform for other hustling. And Tyron says, we know the FBI invented Kwanzaa and British think tanks invented Pan-Africanism. Yes, they did. You're right. And Umar is projecting. Mr. Uganda says, I knew he was a Caribbean. I knew it. Mr. Uganda says he just said he was a West Indian. Exactly. He slipped up and said it. Tyron says it's time to let go of the Diaspora label because white supremacists and Jews invented the homogenesis clump. Mr. Uganda says, I heard he was Cuban too, but multiple people said he is actually Black American. What is the truth? I think his father is, his bloodline is Cuban. Maybe his mom is Black American. Tyron says, same with Tariq. Nasheed threatened domestic violence on Black women and said he preferred Becky's or mixed women with preferably white moms than mixed women with Black moms. Yeah, he had a lot to say. He's a lot of people don't like Black American women. They just want to use us for our money, though, because a lot of us, you know, can be manipulated to give up our money. Mr. Uganda says, I said the same thing on my live and everybody said I was wrong about that. About what? Which video did you want to see? I'm not sure what you were talking about, Mr. Uganda. I'm trying to... Oh, you said, Tyron says, why do we need to travel? Okay, I read that. Charlie says, I'm trying to figure out the logic of Africans and Caribbeans. They have been delineated socially since the beginning. And when we agree to delineate on paper and make it official, now it's an issue. Exactly. They're hypocrites. They want to do as they say, not as they do. All of them feel like they should be able to get away with doing that. And that's the issue in which we're fighting against. And we're not accepting them telling us anymore what our identity will be and what we're going to do. So, in conclusion, I hope that people will, you know, remember that Pan-Africanism is not a blessing. It's only a blessing to the people that's claiming to be Pan-African. They're the only ones that seem to get ahead of all of us. They're the only ones that seem to get rich off of us. And then they come back and talk shit about what we're not doing while they're not doing it. Make it make sense. Yeah, they can travel. They go and travel. They don't have a problem with traveling because they're trying to influence others to do the same thing. But they're making a bag doing that travel. So it's worth their while. They're not losing money when they do the travel. They're making money. But the difference between them and us is that we're losing money when we travel and we don't make the money back. We're losing money when we trust investing with people that are scamming us and whatnot. But they make money off of the idea of Pan-Africanism, either or. So it's only one-sided. It's not meant to be a blessing to us overall as Black Americans, and that's just something that we have to accept what it is. Charlie Shaw says the video where Umar said he was West Indian. Did I just play that? Did I miss something? Did I just have the video? You talking about, hold on. The video I just played with him talking to the other guy right there? Hold on, let me see. Oh, you talking about that's Mr. Big Facts Media. You talking about that video? This one? Mr. Big Facts Media. I guess that's why he said he's West Indian. He's partly Cuban is what I heard. Yeah, so it's Mr. Big Facts Media. And that video is 3 days ago. It's 3 days ago. So, again, Mr. Big Facts Media. They think they kings up in this bitch. Look at how they looking. How can we take these men serious? They don't never build nothing. They just sitting there on their ass talking shit. How can we follow those types of men? Just like Kala and all the others. They propped up talking shit about what we need to be doing. It's just a crying shame how hypocritical these men are. But they make money off of us and then they turn around and abuse us. That's what they do. Talk shit about us and abuse us. Bash us and make money off of us and continue the cycle. All of these men are in on it. They're like got their own little pimp routine. Umar's doing it. Tariq Nasheed is doing it. Phil Scott is doing it. Dinas Demir is doing it. All these different men have their own golden egg that they make off of us by using this Pan-African garble talk. And at the same time, a turnaround after making money off of us, stupidly we give, then they turn around and bash us for fun. So there you go. You're welcome, Mr. Uganda. And Charlie Shaw says, Mr. Uganda, they aren't going to say anything about it because they assume we don't know about them, so they feel comfortable trying to talk crazy about us. Again, it's not going to end until we end it. And I feel like we should raise up and talk more aggressive against people that are trying to make our identity null and voided as American. They have in their mind this notion that we're immigrants and that they will like to do away with our Americanness and try to Africanize us, not to benefit us, but to subjugate us under the thumb of Africa and its debt. That's not a fair exchange of what I feel we should want to do. We didn't earn the debt that Africa has gotten. That's their problem to solve. Leave us out of it. So with that being said, thank you all for appearing. I'm getting tired, I think. Oh, you said, is Umar getting married? He's always using that. But he's never going to get married because he would have to be held accountable and responsible for a woman. He's not responsible for his child. Why would he want a woman to be responsible for it? He's always going to use that carrot. He's going to wait until he starts getting old and unable to really travel and do this and that. Then he'll settle down, I bet. Mr. Uganda says, the rabbit hole goes deeper with the Maroons, but I need to look over the research before I confirm. They have different treaties over them that sets them apart from others. Yeah, do that. Do a live about that. When you going to go live again, Mr. Uganda? I miss when you go live. I think you go. I'm glad you're back, though. I'm glad to see you more because it's been kind of dry without you and people like you to make the lives more interesting. So I appreciate you coming on to Kiki's platform. That was an interesting live yesterday. Okay, so if you guys have a song for me to play before I go, let me know and I'll play it, preferably an old school song. I don't have one in mind right now, but if you can think of one or any last comments or questions, please put in the comment section before I go. Thank you all for coming through. I hope that Phil Scott will feel a little bit more shamed about the fact that he is not doing enough for our community for how much money he's made off of it. It is not an even exchange for how good he's living off of us. And he ought to be ashamed of himself. Oh yeah, Tender Love. I haven't heard that song. Mr. Uganda said, I don't know when I'll go live, but yeah, Kiki's live was very interesting. Oh yeah, Force MDs. Thank you for that. I'll play that. I almost forgot about them. There's so many artists that I can't recall because it's been so long since I listened to their songs. Force MDs. Okay, I'll just put down Tender Love. Tender Love. Okay.
Is it cool? God, if I'm right here, can you see?
Last but not least, Atlanta Star. The name of the song is My Sugar. Haven't heard this song in a long time either. Thank you all for the suggestions. I really appreciate you. If you guys have not yet, please do me a favor by liking and sharing the video. And I will see you next time, maybe in the next couple of days. Thank you all.
I see your face when I sleep at night. I dream about you in broad daylight. You're on my mind, honey, constantly. Ooh, I'm still reaching out for you so tenderly. There could never be any more precious moments to cherish in my life, baby. That can we save our dreams with a kiss and the fantasy of love's magic came alive. Ooh, sweet baby, you know I love you so I can't let go. My sugar, sugar, baby. Just wanna hold you till the end of time. Girl, you left the fire in my heart. Ooh, I'm not like fire, even though we're apart. The search was over, you caught my eye. Ooh, you're absolute.